My name is Yongkang He. So happy to be here. It is my second time in Bangalore, but it's my first time to join our meetup events. So happy to be here. We are collaborating with multiple communities to hosting the meetup events on Saturday. So on the screen, you might notice some of the numbers. So that's the community I built in the last few years. And one of the big questions I want to ask everyone is, do you guys know Kubernetes? You guys hold the CubeSmart thing? I'm happen to be the first one globally. So happy to be here to inspire more people, to help more people to level up, to become certified. Become certified is not the goal, okay? The goal is landing your next exciting jobs. So globally, guess what? Now we are running the largest Kubernetes cluster in the world. So because we have 250,000 nodes, if you look at in the bottom, the different category here, if we're using the Kubernetes term, that's the node pool, node groups. So we have 7 of the largest node pools, node groups. And on the right-hand side, you can see the Discord. Feel free to join us. And from time to time, we share all the learning, certification, event discount code, etc., to helping our community friends. That's how we grow, okay? 4 years, 250,000 plus, members, followers, part of our social platforms. If you haven't joined us, yeah, please join us, follow us. So a little bit of myself, I consider myself as a multi-cloud guy, Kubernetes guy. Now I'm also shifting my focus to be more AI relevant. I did a lot of the learning certifications. And if I'm looking back, do I need to do every certifications? Honestly, no, not at all, okay? You don't have to follow someone else to complete all Kubernetes certifications, all AWS certifications. Back to what I mentioned earlier, our goal is to landing your next exciting jobs. We have limited time, we have limited money to spend for your learning certifications. So let's focus on the one most important one, critical one, can actually help you landing your first job or your next exciting job. Okay, I'm also actively part of the multiple different community. So at one point, I'm literally part of all the cloud community. I'm an AWS community builder. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I'm a CNCF ambassador. I'm also a Google developer expert. So look at the red cross sign. You don't really need to keep all of these, okay? After I become literally part of all the community, I decide also to focus. Okay, you don't have to be doing everything. And that's lots of time to spend to keep renewal. Renewal adds less value, okay? Once you become let's say Microsoft MVP, yeah, it's all good, right? Once you become CubeSmart, renewal, do you really need to renew? I tend not to renew. That's why leave it to expire. Okay, you already gained the knowledge. Why you spend the money to do it again? Okay, that's just my personal suggestion. Talking about the certifications, I did way too much. Okay, I fully certified on Kubernetes, fully certified on AWS. I did the 11 Azure, I did the 8 Google, and also Alibaba Cloud. Back to the question, the point I made, do I really need to do all of these? Especially if someone just started. We need to think strategically. For AWS, just do the most important one, AWS Solution Architect Associate. If you do Microsoft Azure, you do Azure Administrator. That's the most popular one. Can show you can do something. Google, Associate Cloud Engineer. Kubernetes, just do CKA. That's where the employers need the skills to show off. By completing all the certifications, can you guarantee you can find the next exciting job? No, not at all. I completed all of these. I can't find my next exciting job yet. Okay, that's why I keep doing all the community work, trying to helping more community friends to do the right thing, not wasting money, not wasting time. Okay, I hope it give you guys some more idea. That's why I created this community. Okay, and all the vendors keeps asking to renew the certifications. Back to the point, yeah, do I really need to renew? So that's why I created two of the program. One is called AWS Channel. Once it become fully certified on AWS, this title carries forever, okay? And I create another one called CubeStrong for multi-cloud. So multi-cloud definitely it's the thing. It helps to landing your next exciting job or keep your job. Because literally, if you look at the enterprise environment, none of the customers only use one cloud. It's definitely multi-cloud. So if just one takeaway, you don't need every certificate to finding a job, okay? Let's be CubeSmart. So that's why our community called, we renamed it to CubeSmart and the AI user group, okay? So we initially called it KASUG, Kubernetes user group, but then we aligned to the future interest. We want to be more smart. That's why we renamed it CubeSmart and plus the AI, theme. So our mission, it's pretty simple. So both astronaut and the CubeStrong are created by our community. And our mission is to helping empower the community to learn faster, to grow stronger, to get certified smarter. Okay? If you haven't scanned the QR code, you can find everything from our website. And may I invite you guys to share your exciting moments. Okay, if you visit the website, either you type the URL ksug.ai or scan the QR code, you should be able to find somewhere listed the Ksuga.ai community best shots. You click go to latest album, it will show you the latest Google photo album. So I take photos, I upload it to the album. I encourage you guys also help. You can download the photos as well. Just do the social promotions to help more people reach more community friends. So I'd like to just quickly to say thanks to our volunteers. So in India, actually, we started about 1 year or 1.5 years ago, but then we don't have the active volunteer. We don't have the venue. We didn't run at all. So this is a resume. We're going to resume our meetup here in Bangalore. We're going to keep it running every month. Very importantly, we need active volunteers to help us. If anyone are interested to join us as a volunteer, please let me know. So we got a Saurabh, he's based in Pune, okay? So he's helping me to expand to Pune. And we need someone in Bangalore also helping us to expand. So to keep it running here, if you go to our website, you can find one link is become a volunteer, okay? And also, I'd like to thanks to our main sponsor, Cloudera, to offer us a very nice venue here and also provide us food, drinks for the lunch time. And not to mention our community sponsors. We work together to make it happen. So first of all, we have the future of data. And also we have a cloud computing cycle and the AI exchange. And Google Cloud is my long-term sponsor. They supported my travel, etc. Okay, so that's why I always list Google here. By the way, you saw earlier, I'm a Google developer expert. I'm a big fan on Google Cloud. If you look at all the cloud, Google have the Gemini. What about the other cloud? Are they having really good, large language model? No, not that, attractive in the market, okay? So don't go away only. Towards the end, we're going to have the quiz time. So hopefully we have some really nice swags to give away. And from our side, from our Kasuga.ai, we're giving away some exam vouchers. We don't have the complete free one to give away, but 50% off also pretty good. How it works for us, it's a completely community helping community platform. we encourage our community friends to donate to us, and then we can help the rest. If you look at the last year or every year, there are a lot of the exam vouchers wasted, even completed free one or 50% one wasted. So I started a program called Community Helping Community. If you're not using, even it's close to expire, you donate to us, we can help someone else. So we should have some of exam modules to supporting your journey, either AWS, Google, Microsoft, or Kubernetes. So we should have some of 50% of vouchers. If you want to complete it free, we also have some free exam vouchers. Actually, I will show you shortly. We should have a Cloudera, have some swag, and the Cast AI. My friend from Kunal also have some swag. I also bring my own some small swags. Okay, after the quiz time, we will give away. So how it works, you answer the question correctly and fast enough will be on the top. So from the top, you have more choice. Towards the end, you don't really have anything, okay? So how it works, especially for our swags, for Kesuga.ai swag, we encourage you to follow our LinkedIn pages. So you saw earlier, we have a few LinkedIn pages, AWS Astronaut, CubeSmart, Kesuga.ai. We encourage our friends to help us react, comment, and repost. And then your name will be appear in our leaderboard. Actually, let me show you what the leaderboard looks like. Okay, just quickly. So this is our webpage. So our mission is listed here. So we constantly share all the learning certification, event discount code. You can find lots of the information here. We keep updating very quickly. And I'm not going to spend too much time here. Just so you know, you can request the free exam voucher. Click the image. So any one of the image listed here, you can request the free exam voucher or 50% of exam voucher. Before I wrapping up, just quickly to show you the heroes leaderboard. We want to see your name here. If you click here, you follow our LinkedIn page, you reacted, you reshared, commented, it will be listed here. So if your name is listed here, we're happy to give away to support your journey, okay? Swags and exam vouchers, etc. Okay, I think, yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk for now. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And we have quite a few great sessions lined up for today. Please stay here to join us. And then our next session is our number 10 at HPE. Okay, it's already available on Luma and the Meetup. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this session. Thank you for coming. See you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye. Just kidding. Okay. Very warm welcome. Thank you so much for coming on a Saturday morning. I understand what it takes to be so much enthusiastic about a meetup, where you're supposed to, just come spend half a day and, just try to grasp whatever is being thrown at you. And then just have 1.5 day of worth weekend and then start with your Monday. So let's have a huge round of applause for ourselves, for the volunteers, for the housekeeping. All right. Who's attending the Cloudera meetup for the first time, like first ever time? Wow. That's a huge win for us, actually. We are able to pull new crowd. Second time? I'll come. Second time? Okay. Third time? Fourth? Fifth? Fifth? Sixth? Seventh? Sixth. Okay. Okay. Well, again, huge round of applause. Like attending 6 meetups, I'm not sure how long. Okay, that's fine. Cool. So we have the first speaker of the day. I am Parth Goswami. I represent Cloudera. And we have Kunal Das, if I can request him with his laptop. So before every talk, I'll be just giving a short introduction about the speakers. The reason is you need to know who they are so that you can communicate better with them during the networking section, right? You need to know what their expertise is, what communities they represent, and so that you can, draft your questions accordingly. If you do not know them, and if you, just try to come up with them with a small talk or something, I'm not sure how beneficial that would be. So it's better that you pay a bit attention as to who they are, where they are coming from, what they're going to talk about, what their like where their expertise lies in. If you are someone who's also trying to get started in that very space or very community or very domain, I think that should be much more helpful. All right. With that, so we have Kunal. He's a developer advocate, like handling or looking after APAC region at kimchi.dev, the governed AI coding platform. He helps engineering teams adopt autonomous coding agents without losing controls of models, data quality, or spend. You can find him at kunaldas.net. Kunal, KUNAL, das.net. With that, let's give 5 seconds and then we'll introduce him.
So they're figuring out the laptop stuffs. Like, in Mac, you have to, if you first time share your screen, you have to restart the application. It's like a crazy, stupid thing. Never mind. So I'm Kunal. So some of you might know me. I was working in CastAI. Still, I'm working in CastAI, but, before I give the talk, like, so to set the premises, kill the time. So what happened is we are using Cloud Code in our company. So we almost have like 200 developers and very active developers. And the bill of Cloud Code keeps on increasing. So at a certain point of time, okay, it's set up. So at one point of time, we have a bill of around like almost like 220,000 US dollar. So then we end up thinking about how to resolve it, because we can't take away the AI from the engineers. Because believe me, like I can't code myself. If you give me like something in the given Google interview, right, Google Doc, and ask you to invert a binary tree, I can't do that. I could have been doing that few years back, but now like without LLM, it's very difficult to code a single line. So now we ended up thinking, started thinking what to do and how to resolve this issue. And then we ended up creating an open source project. So it's completely free, hosted on GitHub. So that is called Kimchi. Don't ask me about the name. Someone suggested and someone liked it, and then it ended up being the name what it is. And we were able to gather some good customers, good users. So to be precise, like we just launched 1 month back, and we right now have like almost 3,800 daily active users. So that's purely from community, and some customers also signed as large as like Akamai and some European customers. So I'm going to talk about something different angle, the data sovereignty angle. So let's see how it goes. So so data sovereignty, what data sovereignty is, before I just quickly I'll explain. So basically, the code that you have, okay, your code is basically is already there. What do I mean by that? There are a couple of ways to think about it. So basically, when you're using ChatGPT, Claude Code, or any other LLMs, so there are a couple of ways your code gets leaked. Now, for an enterprise, it's very difficult. If you're using personal stuff like asking random silly questions, generating images, that's fine. But if you're using your code base for some serious stuffs, the problem is it's proprietary thingy, and not everything is open source. Sometimes your business logic, your business decision, all those documents are there. Maybe your internal APIs, maybe some secrets, all of those things stays in your code. Now you fire up a coding agent, and then the agent needs your code. It has to. That's how it helps you. But where does that code go? It travels from your AI vendor's inference, and probably an unknown region, because GPU is scarce. It back and forth from different region, and then it could have been ended up as a training data. So if you see in the Claude, terms and conditions written that they can use your code for training data. So you hope it should not happen, but you actually don't know. Now, the question here is not like, should we really use coding for some serious stuff, or should we stop? We are all, using them right now. And the question is, who owns the data that flows through it? So that's the question I'm going to answer today. So there are 3 ways your data gets leaked. First is in the transit. So the source code that is there, that is traveling, and all your schemas, all your configs, all your secrets, internal APIs that travels from model provider, and it calls the API, it goes into a GPU. So in the transit, it leaks. Then most of us, we are not using Servam, right? I hope not. So we are using Claude, OpenAI, or something, which is, US-based product, and it travels to the data. And if you think about a scenario like our data just crossing the borders, more often than not, probably it is hitting a European GPU, hitting an US, East US, one region. So basically, your data, your code, whenever you was using any LLM, it is getting travel. Now, part two, the context that you are providing, the training that you're giving, you are sometimes getting asked like, out of the two output, which is better, right? It happens. All of the UI, like it gives you two output and ask you. So these are like feedback. These are like sometimes the output is getting used as a training data, which is good, which is bad. So that is another thing. And then thirdly, whatever you are generating, the code that is getting output, and maybe you put business logic, the code that is getting generated by ChatGPT or OpenAI or Anthropic. What is that? That code, you don't fully own it. What do I mean by that? Because it's generated by Claude, they can claim the data also. Like, that sometime in earlier days, we used to write a code, we know that, okay, it's my code. But now that's not the case. So there are three ways. So next slide. So this is again the same thing, what we actually need for enterprises, for maybe your personal secret use case, whatever you need, is basically deployed something secretly, but you get the performance of Claude, performance like OpenAI, performance like any frontier training, frontier LLM model. And you get all the things, you get all the features, additional features when you're trying to use it in enterprise, like tagging, team-based pricing, and whoever in your team, how much data they're consuming, what LLMs they're using, all those things you need. Now, these are some numbers. I will not just bore you with the numbers. So 92% of the enterprises using AI code tool have no data governance policy, which is true, right? Like if you see like people are using in their enterprises, Cloud, they're using ChatGPT, you can't really, the admin can't really see what is end up happening. If you convert that into AWS or Azure or anything, or Kubernetes per se, you exactly know which team is using which application, they're deployed in which pod, which load balancer is getting used, traffic is flowing through, we have a network watcher, we have a lot of things already there. But for AI, that things haven't yet arrived. And these are some numbers also. So what Kimchi is, as I said, it's open source in nature. Secondly, if you have your own AWS cluster, your own network, your own VPC, you can deploy Kimchi is in there. Because it's open source, you can just self-host it. Thirdly, what it does, so you can connect your Claude subscription, you can connect your OpenAI subscription, everything with Kimchi. Secondly, you can connect any open source model that are out there. And believe me, some open source model like GLM, some open source model like Kimi K 2.7, these are very good. As far I can say, like GLM is, I am using GLM as a daily driver from Claude because Claude is getting too much expensive. Now you can get all this performance internally at your own VPC. But for sure, like if you're using Claude, anyway, your data is getting leaked. So on the scenario, what you can do, you can host the GPU yourself and just connect to Kimchi. Or we are hosting for you, but because the harness is open source, you can see we are not collecting any data. Because you can see the code base of the harness in GitHub. And thirdly, we are not using that for any training materials. We're just giving you the GPU. You choose the model from Hugging Face or from any open source provider. You just deploy it and you can start using it. And the magic is that by the time you connect multiple models with a single harness, what ends up happening, if you see that the Claude status code, it looks like a Christmas tree. It goes down almost every weekly, once or twice, or maybe monthly. I'm exaggerating, whatever. But what ends up happening if Claude goes down, if OpenAI goes down, you have backup plans. If you connect multiple LLM provider, if something goes down, still you have something to work around. So that's something called fallback strategy. Now there are 4 pillars of code sovereignty. So first is data residency. So the data residency is self-explanatory. You can decide where your data will reside. Secondly, there is no retention. The moment you close your session, the data goes away. Thirdly, there is no training. And fourthly, whatever the request that you are sending, the matrices get stored. Now you must say, why I'm storing the matrices? The matrices are not your prompt and not your data, but how much token you consumed, what model you used. That you can use to figure out if your AI cost is getting higher, which team member is causing that, if they're using it efficiently. For instance, like non-technical guys, right? They should not use Opus. For non-technical workflow, they should not use GPT-5. There are better models, cheaper models out there. So all those things you can easily control if you have an audit trail. So now this is kind of a very simplistic diagram. Again, the same thing. If you deploy it into AWS, if you deploy it into GCP, you get all this thing, spend console, all this analytical data, all those things easily, and you can connect any model interface with that. You can get the agent workflow as it is. Now, there's another good thing called multi-model routing. So what is multi-model routing? Very quickly, I'll explain. So in Kimchi, if you give it a task, right, build me an e-commerce website, or if you assign a Jira ticket to Kimchi, maybe build me a mobile app, it understands the problem. It does not go and start using your Opus credits. So what it does, it splits down the task into smaller parts. Okay, Cloud Code also does that. But why Kimchi is different? It understands the task into multiple smaller chunks. It runs parallelly, okay? Parallelly for faster speed. But it assigns different model for each task. Now maybe you need to scrape some data from the website, right? To build an app, you need to get some photos or get some data of some pricing, whatever. So all those things are very cheap. It does not need a very higher model. So those goes via GPT-3, GPT 2.5 or Claude Haiku, maybe a Kimi 2 or GLM or DeepSeek. It connects the data from a cheaper model. It needs to build. So the plan, okay, let's use Opus 4.8 for the planning. So it use 4.8 for planning, you approve it. And then if it needs to suppose build a single Python app for a modular basis, it will again go and use NVIDIA Nemotron. The possibilities are endless. There are 1,000 different models are connected. And based on the smaller task, which model is best, it switches to that and start executing. And we have a proprietary system. Again, it's open source definitely. That saves your context. So if you change the model, still a context stays same. By doing that itself, we are able to save like 40 to 60%, 40 to 60% of the cost, and you are getting the same performance. Now, this is what the diagram kind of looks like. So you can see basically all the models that you use for a single session or for a month or for a day. And then you can see how much cost you are paying, to each provider also. Now, again, all the tough certificate which are very hard to get for like GDPR and all, we did a tremendous auditing and got all the certification because we're targeting the EU region also. And in Europe, if you miss something, they like screw you up badly. So we got all the SOC, SOC 2 and everything GDPR. And Kimchi is fully open source. It's hosted on GitHub also. Now, these are again some numbers. And we already got some enterprises started using Kimchi. We got some very good early user. They are using Kimchi. And even if you have a Cloud Code subscription, you just connect that with Kimchi. And basically, it's open source. There is no harm in using it. And then you can start using it. If you don't have, you can just use an open source model, which is like very cheaper. Like if I give you a layman's comparison, like if I'm using Claude, I use like $820 or $600 to $800 per month for my coding. But if I switch that to Kimi or switch that to GLM, it will cost me $250 to $100. It's that cheap. And it gives you similar performance. So this is just a key takeaways. Again, you can just read it through. So can your data be used in training? I don't personally feel confident if my data is getting used for training, because I sometimes when I'm using, like I think about is like I'm a junior or subordinate, gives them some personal information or whatnot. I know you should not, but that's the human nature. Like Can't always control yourself from giving a secret. Can't always control yourself from passing some unnecessary data which is not required. Secondly, I don't want my data to travel across the world, jump between through and get leaked, because you may not know, like some junior developer might commit something which they should not. So all those things are the takeaways. And we have these are some plans. So you can start with the $0 also, it's completely free. And that's it. I will not be able to stay till the end today, so I have some meeting to do. But anyway, if you have any question about Kimchi, I'll stay for like maybe some time. But if you have any question, feel free to reach out to me. I'm available on LinkedIn mostly. And secondly, lastly, I want to thank everyone for coming. I know it's a weekend, but everyone showed up. It's like completely full house. So very nice to see that. And do try out Kimchi. And I would suggest you, like, if you have some time, I have some swags to give also, and then later my friends will handle that part. But do start the repo. It helps us to understand that, okay, you are loving it. But yeah, I can take some few questions, and then yeah.
So as you mentioned, you are having a smart uses of different model, right? And another thing is somehow you are maintaining governance, means most of the confidential data will not go to the other model. But what I understand, there are a lot of other even cloud providers or model providers, frontier model providers, they have a smart switch router. I think they would be able to route within their own flavor of models based on the use cases. So that capability is already there. And for data sovereignty purpose, you are able to stop, or behind the scene, you are also consuming their model, right? And that is not hosted by you, it is hosted by them. So again, those data goes to them. I'm not sure again which reason and all those. So that concern is still lies, isn't it?
Very valid question. So basically, if you are using any Claude models and end up ChatGPT models, definitely like there is no governance in it. There is governance, but there is no data sovereignty. So governance, what do I mean by that? You can track the usage. You can check like which team is using, how much token you're using. But if you're using any proprietary models, you don't know. It will definitely get trained for sure, and it will definitely travel to across region. But if you are using Kimchi and using the listed open source models, then you are sorted. You have sovereignty, you have governance also. But if you're using as a fallback, so what I do, I add as a fallback. So if my open source model are not sufficient for some task, then it will go to Claude. So that way I'm kind of limiting that thing. And on top of that, we have all the guardrails built into the harness itself. So like if you're committing some stuff which should not go to, for enterprise, you're committing some business logic, something. So we'll just stop there. We'll mostly try to, so for my use case, like 98, 99% code goes to the open source model, specifically GLM 5.2 right now. And if required at all, then it goes to 4.8. So that's how it, like if you're using proprietary models, there is no way you can secure the data. There's no way actually. But yeah, you can get at least the data, like which team is causing that, how much you are using that. So you can ask the team to switch to, or you can enforce that. You can enforce from the dashboard, like let's enforce to open source mode. And if at all required, then go to Cloud Code.
Yeah, in enterprises context, right? Enterprises not very confident on using open source model, because in open source areas, Chinese model are more prominent. And because of that concerns, they are relying on whatever model being served by Cloudera and US companies. Again, because of the open source, because of in open source Chinese model as frontier, again, enterprises has issue. So how do you think that?
So there's a very valid concern about the Chinese model. Like why would I use a Chinese model like DeepSeek or Kimi or GLM, everything. So this is a fact right now. There is no competition with any Chinese model. There is no second place. Like China is in the top, and there is like, so India, let's not talk about India, but like Korea and other, they are like still on the 5th or 6th place. So how do we solve that? So we do not use Chinese API keys. What do we do? We take the model from Hugging Face, we deploy that into our own GPU. So in Mumbai, we have a data center. like not our, like we have rented the data center. We have in Europe, we have in USA, and we are deploying it there. So that's the deployment part. So you cut off the barrier between the Chinese servers and your. After deployment, because the harness is open source, you can see like what data we're collecting. So basically, it's like which prompt we're collecting and all those things. We're not training it. So because it's open source, you can see that, and it's hosted on the database, so you can see the data in transit, all those things. So that's how we are resolving it. But on top of that, we have partnered with a Korean company. So they have built a very nice model. I was just testing that, and it's on, like, we're still testing. We're going to release it soon. And we have Nemotron also. But it's frankly, Nemotron is not as good as ZAI or as good as any other. So that's given. But yeah, that's how we're trying to address the problems. Unless someone comes with a better model from a non-China geographical location, we'll probably switch to that.
Sounds good.
Huh?
Instead of Nemotron, what are you using?
So I prefer GLM myself. GLM is very good. Like, it's better than Claude in some use case also.
More questions, please.
Someone from
Okay.
the back.
Hi, I'm Sanjana.
Hi.
So this tool, I understand, so this is a harness which has been built, and it can be connected to multiple different models. So like you said, there is a semantic routing, so it does not need to exactly go to one model. It can go to multiple different models as well. So is this connection to be done by our own, or because like if we suppose connect to any open source model, it will not directly go on its own to some other model to connect, like because we don't need probably a bigger model, we might need a smaller model. So that kind of semantic routing will already be handled by this tool, or
Yeah.
will it
So
be
there are
different?
two ways to do it. If you're personally using it, we are very opinionated and we know what kind of prompt is good for what kind of model. So we predefine that in a config JSON file or config YAML file. So it defines, like, if you need to orchestrate, if you need a planner, if you need a Python code builder. So it just redirects to that particular open source model which you've defined. If you are in enterprise, if your admin decides, okay, I will use only these 2 or 3 models, and then it can define the role for that particular models. And then what will happen, all the employees that are using, if they're submitting the prompt, it falls into those categories and it will just jump to that model. So that's how the semantic routing works.
Okay. So by given a question at the beginning, how will it decide that which role it
Okay,
belongs to?
so you can check in the harness also. So basically we have categorized different kind of prompts, like around 138 categories of prompt. And then we do benchmarking across different models. The new model come, we do benchmarking. That's why you see there are like 10,000 models are there, but we support right now from our use case, we tell them, okay, only use this 12 or 15 popular ones, because we benchmark different categories of prompt across them. You're feel free to use, bring your any open source model and plug it into it. But the multi routing thing, it works best with this 12 or 15 models, because we know which model is good for what.
Can it connect to any other tools?
Sorry?
Can it connect to any other tools, like not just the models? Can it connect
Yeah,
to other tools
VS
as well?
Code extension, JetBrains extension, Cursor, and any other tools, it's there. And we have like the Agentic protocol also, or MCP also, so you can connect with anything. And it's open source, you can build on your own also.
That's great. Thank you.
I think I'll take the last question probably.
One last question for the speaker. Okay.
Yeah, so this is not a question, this is just a suggestion. Because you said you are using some YAML files for the prompt to be bypassed, right, to send to the other models. So what I'm thinking is, why do we not have an AI model that does the same thing, right?
So we do have a AI model, but it's for enterprises. If you think like, see, suppose you have a 10 guys, okay, working for you. 2 are HRs. They will use stupid question like for LLM. And you have like 3-4 guys, developers. They will always use 4.8 Opus. You have some guys who are front-end developer or UI UX designer. So as an admin, you can just configure the YAML file. And, just like you used to do in the domain policy, right? You can set that at a stone. So every time someone, like, from the HR, some questions comes, it will go to a cheaper model. If by default it is there. By default, it automatically routes. But we have the option for enterprises to, what the hell? But you have the option for the enterprises, to just select and enforce it. So by default, it's like open source, and it's like open in nature. The model decide which one to choose. But again, you have the option to enforce it on your employee also. Sorry? No, definitely. There are models that it automatically routes to. Okay, but you can have the enforcement also. There is a toggle switch. So either at your enterprise, you can give the freedom to all the employees, like let the AI choose which model is best for them, or you can enforce it also, because some banks and all, they will not allow all the models. Yeah. In a single prompt, it does break it down into multiple models and parallelly run an execute task. Yeah, by default, I don't use the enforcement thing. By default, it automatically works. Yeah, it is easy. This but that works. I think yeah, we are done, I guess. Thanks.
Do you have a All right, so the QR that is being displayed belongs to or represents the GitHub repo. Please do scan it, please do star it. And I'll just pick up someone at random and he has a swag that he has asked me to distribute. We'll do it at the end of the fourth talk. Just in case if this is not clearly, if you're not able to scan it, you have a couple of other options on your left and right, and is taraf do or us taraf do, something like that. Okay. Okay. So the next talk that we have is from Soumyajit. Screen sharing, stop. All right. So Soumyajit is a senior project and technical program manager at Shell. He brings 18 years of experience in driving large-scale digital transformation and enterprise software delivery. Allow us 5 seconds and then he'll be here.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Am I audible in the back also? Am I? Okay. Okay. Thank you. So a very wonderful session from Kunal. I learned so many things here. My name is Soumyajit, as already mentioned. So let's start today's topic. So before starting, I'll just give you a few numbers. So if you see, right now, 83% of the organizations operating in India, they have not meaningfully begun something called DPDP implementation. And also 71% of them, they're saying this act is very hard to interpret. And 45% of them, they're saying that there is a budget as a blocker. And right now we have 18 more months for implementing all these rules and all. So we'll see in some detail. So welcome again. So today's topic, what we will see is what is compliance and code and what is Cloud-Native AI meets DPDP. And this is the full form is given here. What do you mean by DPDP? Our fellow speaker, Kunal, has touched upon DPDP and GDPR in the previous section. So we'll see some details here. So DPDP stands for Digital Personal Data Protection, and which is India's law. Basically, you can think as a parallel of GDPR, what stands for Europe. In India, we have this DPDP. Before going into some details, I'm just give a brief introduction of myself. So I'm Soumyajit Hajra, right now working as a senior project manager for Shell. I have around 20 years of experience in this industry and started a journey as a developer, then a lead, finally working as a senior project manager in Shell here. Prior to this company, I have worked in few companies like Oracle, IBM, and right now I'm working for Shell. And as I'm passionate about emerging technologies and all, and I have also co-authored a book called Mastering AI Leadership for Modern Enterprise. So this is mainly all about me, and post this session, if you want, we can connect and we can exchange a few information on that also. So let's go deep into this presentation and see what we are going to discuss today. In the audience, just a fact check. Is there any lawyer present in this audience today? I hope not, right? So because this is not a talk about law or compliance, so that will bore your Saturday out. So what we will see is that from that law and compliance perspective, how we convert it into our day-to-day work, mainly from the architecture point of view or the code point of view. So as just I mentioned, it is an architecture talk that happens to be caused by law. And this is no legal recap is here. We'll discuss about penalty, but not in details. So for you, there can be few boxes and arrows in the architecture diagram. Mainly those are the things you will see. So let's go inside this. So where we are right now. So this act actually sat dormant for 2 years. It got passed in 2023. At that time, there was no such rule or any board, or there is no teeth. Yeah, we can begin. And this rule notified on 13th November of 2025, and you can see where we are today. And the important thing is what is after that. So if you see there is a date mentioned November 2026, that is very important. And there is something called May 2027. Even if I mention 14, that doesn't matter, 14 or 15, but these months are important because in November 2026, this consent manager, this rule will going to activate. And from the full enforcement of the law that will start from 2027 May. So this is where just to tell you all where we are standing today. So let's go inside and see. Apart from this DPDP in India, there are few other laws. There are some other bodies are also working. So one of them is that India AI governance guidelines. If you all remember this year, there is a conference happened, India AI conference in Delhi and all. They are also some body. They also given some voluntary law and all. So DPDP you can think as a mandatory law. On top of that, some kind of voluntary laws are also standing. So we can also give a brief thought about that, how they are impacting our code. But today's discussion mainly on DPDP. Okay. So there are 4 decisions that forces your architecture today. So where does your data physically fit? This is one of the important questions from this law. Then consent becomes an infrastructure, not a checkbox. What do you mean by that? So today, if you are developing any app, if you remember when you are making a user to register into your application, you are asking, you are checking consent, right? And the consent is basically kind of a checkbox where user is either giving a tick. If you are not giving, you are not allowing. Sometime maybe you are conditionally allowing, but it more or less set in the UI as a checkbox there. But we need to do something more here. And also there is something called erasure meets a model that already learned from you. So if a model learned from you, can you erase it? So this is one of the questions they're asking and which you have to take care in your architecture discussion. And what about the breach? If there is any breach, if there is any security breach into your application, there are basically 2 clocks running. So I will tell you what are the 2 clocks. So all these things, while you are creating the application, you need to, or the enterprise who is creating the application, they need to think about. Because in today's scenario, if you see, a lot of tools are there, a lot of nice way of creating codes, which has become very easy. You just fire a prompt, your application is ready. But is that enough? So in Bangalore context or any other city's context, if you are building a house, you just build the house. Is that enough? If you are not abiding by the law, anytime the government can come and demolish the building, right? So only building the house is not important. You have to follow all the pattern. Before the building, you have to plan need to be passed. There should be an authority and all. So for your software also, just treat it like that. You are building something for the future. You are going to use it. Your company going to earn revenue. But can anytime some authority come and stop it? Think about what happened to TikTok or any other big application. So anytime government can come, they can sit on top of your code and say, stop it from today now. So this decision we have to take care. So it's not about the law or someone what it is telling, how we are interpreting it into our architecture, how we are interpreting into our development. So where does the data physically fit? So whatever the law, what it is saying. So again, remember this act, DPDP, it's not exactly like GDPR. In GDPR, what happened is that they have given you a kind of a allow list. So these are the allowed country. You are allowed to operate on there. You are allowed to put your data physically there. Whereas what DPDP is telling right now, this restriction list is not yet populated. So that doesn't mean you don't have to concern about it. So not knowing the list is not the same as not needing to design for it. So while you are designing the app, there should be a there should be a way to control that where your data going to sit. It's not that just blindly you follow any cloud application or any cloud vendor and wherever they are saying you are just putting it there. There should be a problem. There should be some way so that if I have to change, there should be some switch. There should be not any downtime and all, right? So what it is saying is that DPDP is not giving you a list that, okay, these are the country you cannot put the data. Right now, they're not saying it, but doesn't mean that tomorrow they will not give you. So while you are coding, while you are creating an architecture and all, this thing you have to keep in mind so that in future, when this proper list will be there, you can share or you can route it or you can put your data in some other, like in the allowed country there. So this mainly one important thing, where your data sit. So for your application, this is what is important. So today, if you have already application present, or if you are going to create an application, try this exercise. Can you draw this in 30 seconds or maybe a minute also? So how you are creating an app? Let's say you are getting data of Indian personal user data you are getting. You have built an app, and then usually you are pushing it to LLM, and then there may be some vector database, and there may be some caching is happening. So if you see the left-hand side is very well known. What about the right-hand side? Do you know today? So even suppose you are giving a prompt to an LLM. Prompt also contains any kind of data, right? It contains history, it can contains data. Any region choose by the vendor, do you have visibility of caching? So if you are already working on application or trying to build the application, whenever have time, start drawing it. Can you draw it quickly? Because this will help you later when this law will get activated. So if you don't know, then you will be in trouble. Or there will be some action at that time which will be very costly. When suppose your application already people are using, you have a user base, you are having your revenue. At that point, you have to stop for something which is not suitable, right? So that's why try to draw this, take this as an exercise. When you go back Monday, you can try to draw this, whether you can do it. Again, the example here. So what we are doing today is, suppose you are personalize a home feed by sending some recent purchase history to overseas LLM for reasoning. So you have created some kind of app which is getting all the history, so that maybe you can predict something. You need, okay, last month you bought this, so maybe this month you need to buy something like that. This kind of analysis every day, all the app we do, right? So this, for this kind of app, also, which jurisdiction the user data touch? Is it cached somewhere? If it is cached, for how long it is getting cached? And also, if the restricted list land next year, how long to reroute? Rerouting, how long it will take? So this kind of decision, this kind of important information need to be there. So it's all about knowing your data flow well enough to draw it on a whiteboard in 30 seconds. So 30 seconds is I just given a reference. It should be clear enough. There should be no question mark, or there should be no, we don't know, the vendor will take care. It's not like that. You being the owner of the app should know where the data is going. And this is what the law is saying. Now the next one, as I was saying, consent. Okay, consent stops being a user checkbox. So what we are saying is that left side, if you see in red, what it is showing, it's till now it's just a boolean on a sign up. It's just written once and read once or almost never. It lives in one table. Maybe you have created a user table where you are putting user name, address, and just one boolean field. Yes, no, consent given, consent not given. Like that, how we are managing. And when someone is withdrawing it, you just changing that flag to false. But what this law makes you do is you create a first-class object with an API. Consent is not simply one data. Create an object of consent. Whenever we are talking about object, that means object always has its own fields, and object always has its own methods or functionalities, so that you can work on that. And as there are different downstream systems where you are passing the user data. If it is an object, you can actually pass them. Basically, object you can serialize, you can pass the data, right? So it should be passed to all the downstream system. That is what it is showing. And you can also query that consent object, and there should be a purpose, version, timestamp, and withdrawal event. So it's not only sitting in your form, it's an object, and it can go into all the downstream system. This is what we are showing here. So withdrawal has to reach everything that touches the data. And when we are talking about everything, what do you mean? User withdraws your consent service, not only your application DB, there is training pipeline, there is analytics, there is feature store, there is vector store, there is partner and vendor. So those portion I have showing as red right now, but the consent object should go everywhere, so that when user is saying, I'm not giving my consent, you don't use my data, it's not only from the database. You have already trained your model, right? From there also it need to be removed. You are caching it, removed. You are logging it, can you remove it? So all the system you have to think about it. So this is what mean by consent as an object. Yes. We'll come to that. We'll come to that. Why they're saying not required, will come. Yeah. Yeah. So this is again the simple example I have given, whatever I'm saying. Your model you are training maybe in January. In March, the customer withdraws the consent. And April, there is a scheduled training run. At that time, what you will do, you will again train the machine with the user data or not. If you do it, Again, when this law will going to affect it, the board might ask you why again you have using the user's data, because the user is not giving you the consent. So maybe this is kind of a scenario. So what we have mentioned again and again, consent has to be a queryable object with an API, not a database flag nobody reads after one. Second is this erasure meets a model that already learned from it. So what the law is saying, I have given in top. Yeah, sorry for that. So yes, what rule number 14 of this DPDP rule is saying, eraser request must be honored within 90 days window. And I have again given an example. It's not simply a delete from user where ID equal to something. It's also delete their influence on a fine-tuned model weights. Because when you are training a model, then their weights get changed, and also everywhere from where you have to remove it. And again, there is a valid question came here regarding relearning or unlearning that will come. So deletion gets harder and harder here. So one is raw record, it is fine to delete. Feature store, again doable. Training set, a little awkward, how I'll remove it from training set. Then comes the model. This is unsolved right now. This is something called an unsolved problem. So we are all learning machine learning, right? Now this is called machine unlearning. So which is still, there are good papers, few work is going on and all, but ideally the way you are saying unlearning is not yet a doable solution here. So but what we can make sure is that at least we know where the data is going, from where the data is cached, from where the data in vector, how data is used. At least we know where is the data is flowing. We never know, maybe next year there will be some good work happen when this machine unlearning will be completely possible, as per at least whatever theoretical it is saying. So this is one of the thing. So this is the same thing we have discussed here. I'll discuss about the two clocks, what we are saying. So first, what we learn is that you know where the data is present, how the data is flowing, and few things related to unlearning and all. So it's not only from the database, from all the downstream system. Now, as we are talking, there are two clocks, one incident. So if you are creating a app which is using all this data and all, always there is a question of data security, right? So you are using Indian users' data, there is a question of data security. So whenever this kind of security event happens, we have to compete against two clock. So think about it. Suppose there is a fire event happen. Whenever there is a fire event happen, basically you have to send two notification very quickly. One is a notification to the fire station. That is very quickly you have to send, right? There is a second notification also you have to send. I'll not say notification, but you have to make them aware. You have to send them some document and all, which is the insurance service, right? So think in that here also. For India data, there are two services. One is called the Computer Emergency Response Team India, or CERT-IN. Their window is 6 hours. So what they are saying, if there is any data breach into your application, the moment you are aware of it, within 6 hours, there should be a provision in your application which can send a notification or send an alert to this organization, this CERT-IN. Now, why you are talking about it? Why the 6 hours? Why you are thinking we can, right? If there is something happened, we'll get to know through our system and we can send them some information. But is it that easy? If we involve human here, can a human always look into the system and see that there is something happen and within 6 hours they can see? Instead of that, if we have intelligent alerts present in our system, which can detect if there is any breach and automatically send it. So why I'm saying again here, so suppose there is an event happen. There is an event happen, usually how it happen, you get some kind of message or someone called you, can you please look into our data? We feel that there is a breach happen. And let's say it's a Friday evening. And what I will say is that, okay, I'll log off today. I'll just make that mail as important. I will see it on Monday. And then I decide whether it is really an event or not an event. By that time, I will lose that 6 hours. So if there is a human involvement present, always there is a possibility of error or a possibility of not looking into or with that same, there can be a judgmental bias also, right? So what this system is saying, while you are creating an app, make the architecture in such a way that if you are aware or the system aware or the system sense that there is a breach, within 6 hours, this alert goes to the CERT, and within 72 hours, the Data Protection Board of India, which is again a body set up for Indian government, they should also be notified within 72 hours. That window, again, it may sound good time, 72 hours, but the way the data requirement, they need details, why happen, what is the log, what is the data. So that's why these things, if you think that there will be a team which will investigate at the time when it happens, you may be late. So that's why there should be automatic alerts and all. And also the penalties are given by those systems which will be applicable for the next year or so. The highest ceiling is 200 crore and 250 crore for these two things here. So again, enterprise application dealing with Indian data and all, we have to think little bit more before building it. Are we proof about it? So let's move into that. So this is what I just mentioned. So the clock starts when you are aware there is a breach. So this is what it mentioned. Now again, we have just given example. Day 1, there is some breach. Then again at 2:10, anomaly detector flags, something unusual happens. Your clock actually starts from there, 2:10, the second line. Clock starts from there. The clock doesn't start from the next 9:30 because that is already over. So the clock starts from there. So this is also one of the rule. And then the next rule, what it is saying is that province by design, not by afterthought. So anyone using generative AI in your code and all, or in your application, you are generating an image, you are generating a video, or generating any kind of content. Important thing is that while generating, you have to level it. It's not that first I will generate, I will give it to someone customer or flash it in some UI, and then later on some team will come and they will just put a mark that this is 65% of it is generated by AI, not like that. So what it is saying is that the way you create your system, while creating it, there should be the level should present. This is what this province by design. So it is not an afterthought. So around that also it mentioned that if it's a visual display area, more than 10% should be, or there is audio clip, in the beginning should be this mentioned that this is the AI generator or generated using Gen AI or any kind of LLM there through your metadata, and there should be a declaration. This is also that law saying. And what we are discussing again, that 83% here, see, the rule exists and your system is not built for it. All the risk is in between. So the risk is in between. The rule exists and we are not built for it. So every enforcement story, what you will see in the next 2 years, is not about the breach and all. It's about the companies that they have not translated the law into their architecture. So that is where you will see most of the things coming in future news and all. So again, going back Monday, please check these 5 things. If your application is using AI, map your data, make consent queryable, trace your lineage, where the data is going. Is there alerts, time against that 6 hour, and are there level at generation? These are the mainly 5 things there. So again, as I just mentioned, DPDP, it may sound unglamorous list of new input, but your law doesn't care whether you find this interesting or not. Your architecture have to implement it. So it's not about how interesting it is and all, but if it is a law and all, you have to carefully make it a design decision. Accordingly, your architecture should change and your application should follow the land of, like the law of the land where it belongs and all. Or else there is always the license to operate. That's a very important term. You may not get that. So think about it from today, then you will be in a much better place next year when all this enforcement is coming. So I'll stop my discussion here and open for any question. Thank you. Yeah.
So whenever we use any model, right? So I think we model providers take the consent that it will not get utilized for training, but it will pass through. Right. So means they clearly don't say that we are using for training, but it's passing through the models. The model architecture is like way designed that it will get utilized and it will have some weight and biases update according to that. So we already consenting for that before using. So how does this law will enforce? If I have already consented, okay, it is going inside, obviously there will be some cash and all those.
See, what this law also tells is that consent and also something called transferability of that. So when a user is saying I'm giving consent to use my data, even if I am not a matured enough to take care of all the law, as a user, I should know where this data is getting to used. So that's why what we are saying is that machine learning things right now it is not possible, but at least I know when it's possible, I know the trace where my data is. From there, I can remove it. So similar for this consent also, one step forward is I am giving consent for which, what are the things, 1, 2, 3, 4. It will, my data will be used by this application and by the LLM, what this application is using for some further training. So there, if we can provide also a kind of option to the user that there is like multiple 1, 2, 3, 4, all this checkbox within which I'm giving of consent to 3 things, not these 2 things. Can we implement that?
Okay.
In
So,
that way, yes.
So in that way, you're saying that if user not giving consent
Yes,
to be
yes,
trained, it should not be.
yes.
If it
yes,
is giving,
yes.
then obviously
Yes,
it has
yes.
to be.
Mm.
Okay. Okay.
Now, even today, user is giving consent. The second thing is that, let's say this data is in some country, and after 6 months, government is saying this country you should not put your data. So consent part is still okay. So is the data sitting in right location? If my architecture is there, I am like very quickly switch it to a different country and all, then it is fine. If not, again, that thing also be taken care of. So all this actually followed, all the rules followed one by one. So mainly in today, what most important thing I see is that even you will not get exact answer from the law because there are a lot of things still not like specific, but we should have to prepare at least transparent on what are the things we are trying to do and explainability. If you are saying we are predicting something, how we are predicting it. So those explainability and transferability.
Right. So most of the data concern, what I have seen on persistence layer, transitions are in between. I
Yes.
think it doesn't apply. DPDP will also mostly on persistence layer,
yes,
right?
Yes. And in previous talk also, he spoke about a word called Shadvam, that is India's LLM and all. So what I feel is that the more and more push will come from the Indian way of using it. There are a lot of things, like a lot of universities, they are creating their own products and all, and maybe there will be a good push. And I'll not say push, but it's good to check what the service they are offering. Not only blindly always follow, okay, there is something like a Claude is there, always use that, or this is there, always use that. Maybe it's good time to check on what are the options available in India market also.
Okay.
So maybe we can still achieve the same thing, maybe without paying less or within the guardrail of the law.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
More questions? It was really an insightful talk. I was myself not aware about many of the concepts and topics. Thank you. Any more questions, please? Yes.
Is there a certain threshold after which this might be considered actionable?
Yeah, that I mentioned in the slide, May 2027. May 2027.
No, not the date itself, but like if I'm a developer and I create something which the users are quite less at the start, is there a certain threshold after which this?
No, there is. It doesn't matter whether it's like one theft or 100 theft. So law is law. 1 or 100 doesn't matter.
Gotcha. Okay.
But again, one good thing what you mentioned is that if you see the penalties they mentioned, those are the highest ceiling. But depending on the impact or depending on the usefulness, or it may reduce also. So that I feel, because always that kind of discussion happen. You cannot just come blanketly to any app and say, okay, this is the fine you have to give. Always that impact need to be analysis, right? One user affected. So that's a really valid question. There will be a penalty, but that may not be that much. So like when you are imposing a security and all, so if you are creating an application which is securing a data center, and where you are creating an application which may be securing a small tea shop and all, there may be some difference, right? So that way your architecture will have to evolve. You don't have to bring all the restriction maybe in the architecture, depends on what problem you are solving. So always remember every problem will not solve in the same solution. So problems have different solutions. So think about problem to problem. Yes. Yes, exactly. No, right now they have not mentioned the criteria and all. Yeah. 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 Hmm. So maybe I'll take any other question post this because already there are next speakers lined up. Okay.
Fine. Unless you have an issue. Okay. Questions?
Although you mentioned that the law is very obscure, but I have few curiosity about the law itself. So does it say everything about the data in store and the data in transit both?
It is saying data in store right now, where you can say not right now about anything about transition, the data in transit, mainly data in store. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the CDN? Does it also take?
Yeah, caching it is mentioned because that is also a data, right? Stored somewhere. Yeah.
Right. But then the data in transit is also like you're training your model and.
Data in transit also right now where the data sits, it is important.
Correct,
so
because
maybe
because the routers will cache it, right?
So it is not yet there in the law. You never know when it comes again because law evolves, right?
Right. Okay. So data in transit is not a question now.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Until unless you are not storing it, storing means again physically where it's sitting. Yeah. So that.
So we have got a couple of more minutes until our next speaker is getting set up. If anyone would like to ask something.
So yeah, sir. Actually, there is a small question related to this cloud structures. Already, we are having some backups in cloud that those are immutable and they're cold. So in this 90-day erasure rule, how can we how can we comply with those older things which we are already having?
I'm not getting. Can you just come?
Some softwares we are having in a cloud backup, right, sir? Those we are having most of the cloud backups are immutable or either it's a cold store. Because we intentionally store that that it should not be changed in the future. We are setting it in that way. For this 90-day erasure rule, how can this be complied? I'm asking.
That need to be discussed with the cloud provider and the vendor. Because if it is saying that they need to be deleted and all, again, as I was just saying, this law, whatever is there are few, I'll not say loopholes, but it is not defined well. That is what I can say. In that way, as you are saying, it is the way it is created, that it is immutable and all. If this is the way, but you should know where the data sits first. So that is the most important. So that if it is really you have to implement, then the enterprises and all, they have to start discussing that with their vendor. That now, because now that architecture change in their level. So if I know, then I can do something in future. But if I don't know, then again, everywhere I'm like running like a headless chicken there, right? So you have to know at least where the data is. And there are tools available. It's not that physical, like manually I'll keep scratching. There are tools available. There are intelligent work is going on. So try taking help of those things. Yeah.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much, Somejit, and really appreciate you taking some time today.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, just a quick poll. So how many of us are coming from cloud native background? Few hands, big data background. So like the remaining folks, like what's your primary domain? If I can have just a couple of answers from the crowd. Big data or, yeah. Academics, okay. Oh, which college? Okay, very warm welcome.
Just to get an idea of the last two sessions, it is like the last session. I teach AI in my college to my students. And if I do not know about the laws are coming, I will not be able to guide them in the right direction. So that is the reason I'm here today.
I mean, we understand the passion that you have for the students and to educate yourself first, so that you can, deliver the same concepts ahead. So huge kudos, kudos on coming on a Saturday, despite teaching every day. So thank you so much for coming. So we have like 10% of the crowd from Cloud Native. Is it true? Like, okay. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing from our end, because this meetup is, more or less about cloud native. So we would want to educate as much folks as possible. We would like to spread as much folks as possible on the cloud native, in the cloud native domain. And we have like all the talks lined up that are going to touch cloud native in some or the other way, right? So yes. So with that, we have our next speaker. Saurabh Mishra, who's a cloud evangelist with a deep passion for cloud architecture, DevOps, and automation. Saurabh actively engages with the global tech community, sharing insights on cloud-native technologies, security best practices, and multi-cloud strategies. He's a senior lead working with United Health Group. Along with him, he is partnered with Yong in this meetup. So just a minute. My page. That's my page. All right. So I'll introduce Yong a bit later because he already, kind of introduced himself. So that should be fine. Over to you, Saurabh.
Yeah, you want to be joined, Yong, or you fine over there? Oh, he's busy to taking the photos. So yeah, good morning, folks. Good morning. Okay, Subodhya, like I've just typed it over there, how I can say in the corner. So Subodhya, everyone. So before jumping on Gemini, Kubernetes, Agentic AI, MCP, like these are the fascinating word nowadays. How many you are from the background of like DevOps, cloud architect, SREs, platform engineers? Only 10 to 15, 10 to 15, I believe only we have the attendance related with that. So anyone can let me know what's the actually, why you having the so many designations? Any differentiate? Of course, there is some differentiation between all the profiles. So you guys, can anyone give any insight about what's the differentiation and what's the role differ from profile to profile? Any idea? Actually, what DevOps do, what's the job of the SREs, and top of that, what actually the platform engineer team is doing. So this topic is more focused on the platform engineering side. So we have to understand what the platform engineers usually do. Any idea? Anyone want to be know? Yeah, please go ahead. Do you have another mic, Parth? Okay. Yeah.
So my understanding about it is like they have a few overlapping.
Audible, I believe.
Huh?
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are
So
audible.
my understanding is that they have a little overlap. Some parts of the function, some part of the role or the function has overlap, but I think platform engineers build tools for the team which is utilized by the internal engineering team, while site reliability engineers are the ones whom you turn to when the application is facing severe production outages. And DevOps basically are the folks who help deploy the application on the production or cloud or on the cloud. That's the core difference that I understand so far. And I'm open to.
You are much correct. Let me little bit give the insight. Then everybody can understand. So everybody know the developer, like the software developer, ST profile, everybody know. And we have the operational team, like system administrator, system admin profile, where they are managing the operation side. But what happened at enterprise level? Once developer push the code and that codes come into productions, this duty of the ops team to managing all the services continuity, top of that managing all the code. But ops team is not very proficient to managing or writing the code. So that's why DevOps come into the picture. The DevOps is the team who is more focused on the developer side, but he's also know how to operate. Ops team is also working. So this is one of the bridge between your developer and the operational team. In between last 6 to year or maybe the 5 years, SREs come into the picture. Why it is SRE roles is very famous nowadays as well. Why SRE is important? The main job of SR is to maintain the reliability and make the service available at each and every time, any point of cost, So service should be available at any cost. Nowadays, the DevOps and SRE teams only work with the few teams, like, one or two teams, they can work in together. But if you're talking about the platform engineering, so the main roles and responsibility, we can say the R&R for platform engineering side to develop the internal developer platform, IDP, known as the IDP. Why is IDP is important? Like for many employees using the central tool, like, we have the dev portal, we have the so many applications at the centrally. So they're not able. Oh my God. Is this fine? Is this fine at back? So they are the central team, whatever the solutions they are building, that is applied at the enterprise. So suppose I'm a developer, I don't know anything about the infrastructure. I don't want to be expert in the infrastructure. So I just request or fill the simple form and our OS provision or infrastructure provision is ready within 10 to 15 minutes. So this is the main role of the platform engineers. And nowadays there is another profile is coming to the picture known as the forward deploy engineers, So very demanding and very, very good scale of the pay as well. Like the person who is very good in terms of managing the infrastructure altogether, and top of that, how we can use the agentic AI feature. So this topic is very relevant for the today's scenarios, like many enterprise company using Kubernetes and the container as the main stream and building the modern infrastructure. And this topic is more focused on like we're doing some sort of the troubleshooting on the Kubernetes platform on the container side. So we can do a lot of testing, like, you can see there are a lot of logs, kubectl logs, your ingress logs, pod logs, deployment logs. So we have investing so much time to fixing the normal issues. Or maybe you take the scenario once you have, you get any issues related with service unavailable, but you can see application seems fine, your pod seems fine, but something somewhere your infrastructure is broken. So how we can fix that? So we can do a lot of, investing to fixing those and a lot of troubleshooting over there. So Gemini is one of the platform, like we have the ChatGPT from the OpenAI. Gemini is one of the model is from the Google itself, where I can guide you how you can use the Gemini. That is going to be help to troubleshoot in the real time and fix the issues on real time. And we don't much intervention required from our side at all. So before jumping on this topic, this is little about me. I'm Saurav. So if we're talking about particularly on the Google Cloud products, I've engaged with their community almost 4 years now. So I do a lot of contributions and engagement with the Google ecosystem. Top of that, I'm also much involved with open source as well. And recently, a few months back, I also started the journey with the Agentic AI. Oh my God. This is, okay. Okay, no problem. It is fine. So if this is little bit about me, so I hope this is the, I'm not regularly, visited this city, so this much introduction required. So the core concept I'm going to be covering in this sessions like the four. First of all, platform engineers is already little bit give you the insight. The Gemini CLI, one of the, Gemini, we have the app, but we are mostly rely on this Gemini CLI. This is the command line interface, of course. And model context protocol. I don't believe I need to explain this concept. MCPs now everybody can use, can understand, and can use to great extent. And at last we have another important terminology, agent skills. So have you heard this skill somewhere in agentic AI era? Why skill is very important? So I can also use that skill feature as well. So in this workshop, this is not the talk actually, this is the proper code lab and the workshop I'm going to be driving. So first of all, we are going to use or experiment the AI tool. AI tool is like we are going to use the Google itself, the Gemini tool, to increase the context. So if you're talking about the agentic AI, context is the very important, or we can say the how much prompt or smartly prompt we are putting to getting the complete response. And then we have the one of the app which is based on the Kubernetes ecosystem. So we have the Google Kubernetes engine where the sum of the pods or deployment files is already broken, and we are going to fix via the Gemini CLI. Yeah. Okay. So first, jumping over there, let's discuss how the AI use cases involve. So I have a questions for everyone. If you take the scenario like 2010, 2015, are we using in any sort of the AI? How many yes or how many no? Before 10 to 15 years, are we using the AI? Yes. Only few hands can say for yes. Yeah, we are using the AI. We are using the AI that is basically based on the historical set of data. If you're talking about, like we are predicting something, how we are predicting something in the AI, we have the machine learning algorithm. So we have so many way to, like we have the indexing, classification, sentiment. So there are a lot of algorithm through which we are predicting something on historical set of data. Now technologies move on. So OpenAI bring the concept of the ChatGPT in 2017. So that era known as the generative AI, So still we're talking about the generative AI. So there is some X factor in the generative AI. Any idea what is the X factor in the Gen AI? Are you still using, still discussing? Anyone?
Was you can do a natural language interaction with the model itself, and you can get whatever task you wanted to get out of it. So that was the best thing what any kind of LLM does, and that was very new in 2017. But in the evolution we started getting from this generative AI to right now into agentic eras. So right now people, it's not about that you write any prompts, but you put your task into agents, and that agent can do the task for you, and it can also do tasks working with other agents also. Right now A to A agents concept is very getting, like in enterprise adoption, it is also getting done right now.
Have you observed, you can ask the same question with any model. You are getting different response each and every time. Have you observed, like, I just type it best place to visit in the Bangalore. So whenever I typing and asking the same question, we are getting the different response. So content generation is the one part, but getting the unique response each and every time, this is the beauty of the generative AI altogether. Yeah. So now when initially we had that like one time, like we can do text to image, image to video, this type of things you can do. So now technologies move on. We are focused on in the middle, the multimodality AI. Like it means you can mix the different object together, and we are getting the response all together, right? You can like mix text with image, we are getting something, maybe speech with something over there. You can mix it different objects all together. Now, since last year, we are more focused on the agentic AI, or we can say the reasoning AI, some sort of. So agentic AI is, whenever you hear the terminology agentic, it means we want to perform some sort of the actions. Actions nothing but we have to perform some sort of the task. So if I'm going in the detail for the agentic, so we are more focused on the chain of thinking. How actually model, if you can ask the questions before getting the response, how actually model think in between, how the intermediate thinking is going on. So if you're talking about the technically, that terminology, the SOTA, state of art thinking or chain of thinkings over there. So in this era, we are more focused on like chain of thinking, some stuff, the actions performed, tool use cases where MCP come into the picture. I'm going to be explaining the subsequent slide. And top of that, how we can build the complete automation of workflow altogether. And down the time, if we're talking about, take the example by 2030, we are more focused on the physical embodies. Like we are more focused on, we are going beyond your digital footprint or digital environment. You are more focused on the quantum theory. So where robotic come into the picture, physics all. So if you're talking about, if you suppose I'm going to talk about after 2 years, I am more discussing on this physical embodies of God. So this evolution of the AI use cases. Now let's discuss what happened. Is my screen stop working? One second, folks. Okay, this is the design I have built, like Google having the another product known as the notebook LLM. So I just try to beautify the all together and just put the prompt and get this image. So I must encourage you guys to go there and try to use the notebook LLM as well. You can go get a lot of functionality within that product altogether. So that this slide is the same thing what I explained earlier. Now let's discuss about how the agentic AI things is going to be involved from time to time. So when ChatGPT come into the picture, we are more discussing about the LLM. Like everybody know the large language model we are discussing. So any idea what is LLM? Any idea? Like, everybody know the large language model. What is that? The model which is trained on the billion or against the huge data or data set over there. So we are like that model is going extensive testing altogether basis of the various test data and the real data over there. So when LLM come into the picture, we are getting the prompt. We are asking the questions, we are getting the response. But if you are initial user of the chat GPT, have you observed you are getting the different response altogether? Maybe the not accurate information as well. So to overcome that one, we have the new AI terminology known as the RAG. Like RAG is the retrieval augmented generation, where it is play the important role to getting the relevant and the correct informations over there. Now technologies move on. We are more focused on the function and tech actions, agentic AI, and these are the, you can say, so this year we are more focusing on the building the agentic AI. Next year, we are more focusing on building the multi-agentic AI system. It means it is not restricted. You have to use the only one models. Like you cannot use like only the Gemini or maybe the Chat GPT or maybe the Mistral. We can use the multiple heterogeneous set of the models to perform your task, or maybe you can build your applications. Yeah. And down the time, we are more focused on the automation system. Like you are building one of the agent, that agent basically is going to be perform the task end to end without human intervention at all. Yeah. So many companies now, they are designing, thinking from this stage now, if you're talking about the enterprise level. So this is just like one of the slide where I'm going to be used, like whatever the codes I have built the code on the locally. I'm going to use the MCP like model context protocol, where I can leverage our local terminal to use this MCP and make it visible for your Kubernetes environment for agent. So this is one of the slides I'll just also want to be focus on basically on the Google ecosystem. So suppose I am not a developer. I'm just like a project manager, or maybe I'm just doing the business user. But I want to build any applications from scratch without any coding background at all. So Google proposed so many solutions, and this is the best one. First, they have segregated in the 3 steps. One is the think, build, and the publish. It means you can just have an idea. You just have an idea where you have to just type it your idea. Yeah. So Google having the 2 things. First is the Stitch, and second one is the Gemini. Gemini is everybody knows. Stitch is one of the product where you can do UI designing. Like if you can do UI designing for your mobile app, you can do for your web pages over there, and I can show you how you can use very smartly. And the second one is the build. Like you got the idea, you can build via Google ecosystem. Like we have the AI Studio and top of the anti-gravity. AI Studio is where we can build your applications all together in form of the natural language processing only. Like you have to just put in the plain English, and you can get the app within 10 to 15 minutes altogether. Anti-gravity is the extension of the VS Code. Like everybody using the VS Code, technically or non-technically. But VS Code is only restricted to placing the code or beautify the code over there. But if you wanted to inbuild with the agentic AI feature, anti-gravity come into the picture. And once your app is ready, then you can finally, if you wanted to access that app to everyone, so you have to publish somewhere. So Google having the one of the awesome service known as the Google Cloudera, and that is mostly based on the containerized based applications over there. So this is one of the slide where they have introduced this year only in their flagship environment. So we wanted to build the agent from end to end, and we wanted to leverage the Google ecosystem. So this is the complete ecosystem just only designed for the AI agents, nothing else. So they have the 4 pillars: the build, scale, govern, and optimize. So if you're talking about the build, so Google, suppose you wanted to build any agent and you don't know much about the coding experience, you can use their platform, the ADK, like Agent Development Kit. And top of that, you can use these are the different all product together. And 3P agents means like if you wanted to build the agent on the LangChain or LangGraph, you can use the third-party agent framework. Or maybe you can use Gemini models. You can use also the other models. And these are the tools and data they are exposing, like A2A, like agent-to-agent protocol, where one agent calling to the different agent. MCP is everybody know. And the second one, if one agent is wanted to scale, like, he can enlarge. So these are the, I'm not giving the details, like this is not in the agenda for today's sessions, but I just want to give the overview. At least you can go at home, try to explore at home. And this is, trust me, this is one of the awesome technology we're talking about. So this is the code lab. I'm going to be perform for you. If you wanted to scan, I like everybody required the laptop for this one, but no worries. I'm just going step by step how we can do. So this is the complete step by step, like, Google, the code lab. So they have given step by step how is the code lab is going to be performed, and you can also perform at home as well if you want. So let me go there. One second. So this is the code lab I'm going to be discussing. So if you, I think this is visible at back as well, right? Okay. So if you go there, the exercise is like where is already explained. We are going to be, suppose we are running the Kubernetes cluster, and those Kubernetes cluster having some pod, it is in the image pull box, like some sort of the error that image is having, and how we can fix it by Gemini model altogether. Yeah. So in first step, you see there, we are running few of the, first of all, you have to set the project. So like if you are aware about the AWS account, we are creating the account for each project. In the Google, we have the creating the project to provisioning any resource over there. So we are setting the project, and through this script, we can put, we can just clone this particular GitHub repo where we can get each and every file. So we don't have to create anything. You have to just clone this particular repo, and you can get everything well placed. And we are running two scripts, you can say. First is the setup.sh. It means via this script, we are creating the Kubernetes cluster, yeah, on GKE platform. And the second script is like break.sh. It means you are breaking something, like, on running environment. Why you are breaking? We are just wanted to test the Gemini. Is the Gemini is actually able to perform or able to fix that issues or not? Yeah. And so let's move on. So this is one of the, like we have the VS Code. So Google having the cloud shell editor, like suppose I don't have the VS Code on locally installed. So I can go on their cloud platform, and you can use their platform known as the cloud. There is the one service cloud shell editor. This is similar like your VS Code we have. Let me know. It will ask this authorizations. Let open up. Yeah, this is just a terminal like the VS Code on the cloud. So if you see there, I have created one of the fold, like once you have cloned that particular repo, so this file is going to be created, devrel-demo, you can say over there. This is particular directory is going to be created, and I have done till step here. Like, I have already creating the Kubernetes cluster. Why I have created earlier, it will take around 10 to 15 minutes to provision the complete Kubernetes cluster. Where I'm just going to be test. Once you have go on this particular cloud shell, let me see what's the pod state. So what's the command to see the pod on Kubernetes? Very good. Thanks. So we can get pod -a. Yeah. So you can see over there is the one pod, or maybe the two pod is like image pull back over there. If you see this particular image, user services, are you able to see? Yeah, so it means this is not in the running status. Yeah, we have to fix this particular pod. So maybe you can go via, we can check the logs, go with the K logs, pod logs, you can go the deployment logs. We can do a lot of troubleshooting to fixing this one. But let's see how the Gemini responses. Gemini is actually able to figure out what's the actual cause, or actually that cause is going to be fixed or not by the Gemini itself. So we have the two way to fixing. First one, like you can go on the Gemini UI, like Gemini, like ChatGPT web page, we can just to put the error, you can get the generic informations. But in Gemini CLI, it will be go core values, like it can be go read each and every deployment files, each and every logs files, and you can suggest something. So open the Gemini CLI, we have to use this command, just normal, like type it Gemini. Yeah. So this prompt is going to be displayed, like this is the prompt for the Gemini CLI. So let's see what are the different things we can perform to troubleshoot this particular pod issues. Yeah. So go on step number 5. Yeah. So where I can typing, just let it do what's the word. I'm just asking whatever the question is already in build with this particular code lab. So let me ask the first questions. What type of the application it is? Okay, maybe the typo, one second. Yeah. So this is the first question I'm going to be asked. What type of the applications basically? So if you see there, It will be do the research in the backend, read your configuration file, read your all Kubernetes manifest file, and giving the prompt response, what the type of the Gemini they are looking for. So if you see we have listed out different applications part of this particular directory. So let's the scenario go on this particular manifest file. So this is like a straightforward. We have to just perform step by step this particular code lab, but of course we require the Google credit or maybe the Google you have to add your credit card and something over there to perform this particular any operations on the resources on the Google Cloud. But we have the different way as well where I can guide you where we can get each month 35 credits where you can do a lot of practice related with Agentic AI, not only for this particular code lab. You can do a lot of labs related with Agentic AI and MCP and other stuff if you want. So let's go there, type it this normal prompt within the Gemini CLI. So if you see there step by step, you can also segregate like how the model actually thinking. So you have to just drop down this arrow where you can get a lot of listing. How's the actually model thinking intermediate? How's the different operation is going on to giving the different all. So you have to just ask the permission, nothing else. So if you see there, it's going to read each and every. Let me allow it for everyone. One sec. Allow for this session. So if you see there, it will be read the manifest file and is able to find it where is which manifest file having the particular error over there. So this is my Kubernetes cluster. If you see there, same bank, something is the Kubernetes cluster I have created. Within that manifest file, this is the problem I'm getting over there. So I just ask. Sorry, this is really very crazy, asking permission each and every time. I hope everyone is getting me at least, what the different operation I want to perform here. And meantime, it will it takes some time. So how we can perform? So Google there is the one program known as the gear program, like Gemini Enterprise. Let me open that one. So this is one of the program they have launched a few months back, Gemini Enterprise Ready, known as the Gear program, where you can get the access of their platform known as the Google Cloud Skill, through which each and every month you are getting the 35 credits. So 35 credits is nothing but like, we can do, suppose they have listed a lot of labs over there, a lot of things related with the different services, like from AI, for Kubernetes, for Cloud Run, where I can do a lot of practices basis on that credit. So as per my experience, from the 35 credits, at least we can do a lot of 25 labs altogether. And it can be not restricted only to use only for this few of the labs. You can use any labs on their platform, Google Cloud Skill. So let's where it goes. I believe we have time, Parth, right? How much time is left for me? Okay. Let's see. This depends on the model output. See, so in Kubernetes ecosystem, they have suggested 2 fixes in this manifest file. If you see there in the lower part, fix one is like update the deployment file to correct service account. So might be there is some issues related with they have typo in the service account. The second one, they have asked to fix and update the service selected to the match this pod level. So we have to just add, or you can correct the app name over there. What's the correct app name you have there? So this is straightforward. Rather than we can do a lot of logging and a lot of troubleshooting from our side. So this is like 5 minutes fix for you, everyone. So let's move on the different slides, which are the remaining. Yeah. And trust me, guys, if you're using any models, So think about the context, what type of the context you are putting over there. So we are just putting the plain context, nothing useful for at all, So it depends on the context type as well. Like, the context, if you see there, the context matter, how it is matter, you have to provide complete context. Everybody understanding the meaning of the context? Can anybody explain what is context in terms of the AI? What is context in AI and why it is important? Yeah.
From my understanding, it should be a collection of key value pairs, which highlight what the current session is talking about.
Okay.
So the next request that we make, it takes the context from whatever was previously talking about. That's flash attention and then gives a PRET output.
Okay, right. So suppose here is the whole agenda to fixing the Kubernetes, and we are giving the context, like we're giving, like, explain about this Cloud Run and something over there. There's no matching at all, You have to more focus on what type of the context you are putting. So if you categorize over there, so if you see there, there's the 4 things you have to more focus on. The first is the context is already explained. Second is the terminal context. If you're using the Gemini, like I'm not using any Gemini Web UI at all. I'm using the Gemini CLI. So what type of things we are putting within Gemini CLI itself, where we are getting the prompt. And trust me, everything is calculated basis of the cost. So how smartly you are putting the prompt, how smartly you are putting the context, you can get the better response, So trust me, suppose, and one last thing, one of the beautiful feature I just want to show over there. Suppose I just explained about the Stitch, So Google having they have recently on one of the Google Stitch. I think this screen is not coming, this page. Parth, can you please help me? Like this page, okay, it may be taking some time. Wait a sec, yeah. Okay, so take the example, like I want to build, no problem, food app delivery in Bangalore. Yeah. So basically through this Stitch feature, I want to build the mobile app for food delivery, and I don't know any background at all. So what I have to do, I have to just put in the constant, and this context I'm putting in the very bad way, I have to describe what the food app, what's the different description, what are the different use cases you have to put it over there. So you have just put in this prompt and you can just type it over there. So in this model, if you see there, your agent is going to be, Stitch agent is going to be started and it's going to be build the mobile app for me within 2 minutes. Yeah. So this is one of the design I got it. Like what type of the feel look factor we are getting for the delivery agent. And it can be created within the, suppose I have created this platform only for the monitoring dashboard, the Kubernetes, if you see there. So I've just typed it like, please create the monitoring dashboard for health check, where just something like health check, your deployment, everything, I can get it the output in the plain text. And I can getting this mobile app look like. So we have to select, like, you can also customize as per your different font case, color use cases, as per design. And if you want to, suppose I have built the design, but I want to build the complete app as well. So what you have to do, you have to just go there on export, and on the export, we can get it the different options. One sec. I think this is stuck a little bit. Yeah. You can also import it or import on the Figma. So like they have, I'm not using the Figma at all. So I'm not comparison. So whatever the things I can use it, you can also export this feature of the Figma, but I'm not a user of the Figma. So I don't have much answers regarding that. So what you have to do, you can directly go there. Why it is not coming? Yeah, you can see there the different, oh my God. The screen is a little bit, stuck, maybe the network connectivity, maybe. But this is one of the service you must try at home. This is awesome services where you can build the complete app from end to end within half an hour without any code knowledge at all. Correct. So this is one of the, like, suppose we have one of the things, what are the different phases? Like everybody know the SDLC. SDLC, the long software development cycle where what we are doing. we are gathering the requirement and then design the stuff, So we have the requirement, we are putting the requirement in form of the prompt. And you are designing first, One design is ready, you wanted to deploy. Deploy where? You have to do build. And once it is built, then we can deploy finally over there. So through the stitch, we are doing the step till designing. Once it is designed, we can build via one of the service known as the anti-gravity or maybe the AI Studio. So through this platform, through the stitch, we can import or directly export on your AI Studio platform, where you can build the complete app or prototype of the app, So everybody know the prototype. Before making the production, we're doing a lot of testing on the prototyping app. So once prototype is ready, we can directly publish over on the services, like when you use the Kubernetes server, where everybody can access your complete app. And this whole operation you can do within 20 minutes with the Google ecosystem platform. Yeah. So I believe I have covered so much time. And at last, this is QR code for my QR for LinkedIn. If you wanted to connect, you wanted to further continue the discussions, we can connect over there and we can take these discussions over further. I hope everybody at least learn something related with the Google ecosystem. What are the different services you have? How can you use and how can leverage those services in the real-time environment, or maybe you can say the production use cases at all. So that's it, folks. That's it from my side. And thanks to be active and good listener, and have a good day and take care.
Questions? Questions, anyone? We have had a nice demo. I hope that was productive and useful. I've got the first question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask.
Your voice is not audible. You're just my problem you have, I believe.
Yeah. You have mentioned two tools. I have been extensively using anti-gravity. I've never explored Gemini CLI, but how different is it compared to anti-gravity? Because I see anti-gravity as
Which one? AI Studio? Which tool? Which tool?
Gemini Google anti-gravity.
And another one? Which
and
one?
The one you talked about just now, Gemini CLI.
Okay.
So how are they different, or how are they similar?
Agentic anti-gravity is one of the agentic AI framework for the IDE. IDE, VS Code, where we are writing, maintaining the whole code. But suppose why it is very unique compared to the VS Code, that enable with the agentic AI feature, like agentic framework. So we are getting one. Let me show you. I think it's already disconnected. So you can get the agent platform, like the ChatGPT platform. You can just type it over there, and each and every code is going to be, let me go ahead and show you. So this is the, this is the logo for your agentic AI. Is this gone? So where we can inbuild the agentic AI feature, like, I don't know anything coding, but you can write whatever the typing in Stitch or maybe, so you can type it over, like you can just put, like I want to build 3-tier web application, and give the configuration of your front end, back end, and the middleware, where your agent itself writing the code for everything, and we can also deploy on the cloud. So this is one of the single platform where each and every task you can perform one shot. But that is not possible in case of the Gemini. CLI is more focused on to building the code, writing the code, more developer-centric focus. So where many developers are familiar with the command line, but as a business user, project manager, maybe the SRE jobs, they're not very heavy use cases of the command line at all. I hope you are not getting, but you can connect it over offline, then you can get it very easily. Yes, please.
Hi, sir. Actually, I was when seeing your slides, I was shocked that someone is other than me using the notebook LLM. Because in my college, I used to say to my fellow students, use notebook LLM, because it was my semester saviors for past 2 to 3 semesters. So when talking about notebook LLM, few features have been added now recently. They have added, sir. But some of the features are still extensively. They need still more tweaks to it for it to work better. What's your thought on
it's
this?
also depend on the license type, which type of license you are going to be used within that notebook LLM. Suppose,
actually, I'm having
so I have
Google
the
One subscription. I'm having the Google One subscription.
Pro version you have, or which one? Enterprise or
No, I'm having the Pro one.
Okay, Pro. So in Pro, we have not very extensive feature. We can do that, like, so we can help to get it the complete blocks, maybe the slides, maybe infonetic, we can the tune, we can a lot of things we can do that. But if you're particularly advancing to at enterprise level, so top of that, you have to avail and you have to enlarge your, or maybe you can extend your license as well in that case for notebook LLM. Yeah. So I have prepared very awesome slide for this talk for notebook LLM, and trust me, that is quite amazing. Like one of the slides just show you, but each and every 15 pages is more awesome slides we have without much effort at all. But I thought audience think like this is AI generated, so that's why I just bypass that particular slides. Any questions? Otherwise, you can connect after lunch or maybe after this session as well. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much, Saurabh, for delivering the talk and also helping us understand the topic a bit better through your demo. It's kind of a show and tell. That's always preferable. So we have next speaker. Just a minute. Rajni Ekunde, and I need to share my screen. All right. So before the last talk, so I'll try to set some context. We are done with the first 3 talks for the day, and we are remaining with 1. Now I am getting I've started getting a feeling that we are kind of getting hungry. So I don't want to stall all of us, and we have good food. Any guesses what we might be having? Pizza? What else? Biryani? What else? So he has attended this meetup for 5 times, so he's already aware. Okay, so it's actually biryani. And any guesses as to who might be the vendor for biryani? Nahi, aap nahi, please. Sorry? So Meghna, first choice, second choice? Nandana, third choice? Hanif. Okay, so how many we have for Meghna? Like show of hands? Okay, like fans of Hanif biryani? Meghna, Nandana? Nagarjuna? All right. So Meghna, we have Meghna. All right. So the flow is that we'll have a very short talk, about 15 minutes, less than that maybe. We'll try to talk, Rajni is going to talk about the networking aspect of cloud native and Docker and, Kubernetes. So we'll be done with that. Then we have a short quick section, fastest fingers first kind of a thing. So whoever, I'm not sure we're going for top 3 or top 5, but yeah, whatever it is. So whoever is in that list, they will be eligible for certain swags. Yong has got some swags for us. Then we have the TA representative from Cloudera. If anyone of you is kind of interested or looking forward to understand the open opportunities at Cloudera, he will have a very quick, maybe 2 or 3 minutes demo, and he will be hanging around in the networking section so that he can address your questions. His name is Abhijit. Then, as a customary routine, we'll have a group pick, and then we'll open up for lunch, and I'll be here. All the speakers, most of them will be here, to interact and take your certain more questions, not specifically to, not restricted to the topic, but, around community and open source contributions as well. All right. So with that, let's welcome Rajni. She is a senior site reliability engineer working for Okta. She loves contributing to the community by writing blogs and involving in India and global level tech conferences as a speaker. So let's welcome her, please.
Okay, thank you for the intro. Okay, guys, so last talk of the day. So me and Pat are going to talk about a deep dive into cloud native networking. So we'll be talking about many different things, and it's going to be really interesting because this is basically Pat's topic. He just told me to be a co-speaker here. And okay, so I would just like to add some more to my intro. So currently I'm working with Okta as a senior SRE. And apart from that, I hope I'm audible in the back rows. Am I? Okay. So apart from that, I'm a Docker captain as well. And I am a Google developers expert as well in Google Cloud, just like Saurabh. And apart from that, very interesting thing, I am a Women Tech Makers ambassador. I was basically sitting there and counting how many women are here. So me and Path basically ended up finding like the ratio is 7:3. But still it's good. I have seen less women in such conferences, but it's good. So basically in this ambassadorship, we basically strive hard, like how basically we can involve more women in tech conferences. So, but I'm really happy to see these many women here. Just don't consider that I'm a little biased. I'm not biased. I was just basically calculating. Okay, so these are all the things that we'll be covering. Okay, what exactly are the container networking foundations, and what is Linux network namespaces? What exactly is the mechanics and life cycle of CNI? And what are the hidden bottlenecks that we are having? And what is the advanced IPAM and with Calico? Then what is the workflow? And some key takeaways as well. So this is going to be the flow. Okay. So talking about how exactly container networking works now, okay? So we have basically two different ways through which we can establish network within the containers. So first thing we have is CNM, that is a container network model. So this is basically Docker's by default way that we are having to establish networking in the containers. So basically Docker itself is gonna give the bridge, the host, the overlay, everything is basically be given by Docker here. And all the networking that we'll be having is going to be there inside the container in the Docker engine, which is basically helping us to create the containers and run the containers. So, but this is feasible or this is efficient only when if we are working with one single machine. But suppose if you are dealing with multiple machines, so we need to go ahead with CNI. That is, we are having a container network interface. So this is basically CNCF standard for configuration of networks for multiple containers, we can say. So this is mostly going to act as, I can say as a USB, basically. Like you can have your containers running, but only when it comes to the networking part, you can basically make use of tools like Calico, Cilium, Flannel. So these tools are going to help you to basically establish that networking within your containers. And this is mostly used by Kubernetes because it's very efficient. No, because on the fly, you can basically, if you feel like, okay, I need to change the tool now, so you can go and change the tool as well. So this is very efficient. Okay, so just one more thing I would like to talk about here is like if you see the last line here, so there's actually no fight between these two things. So basically we can make use of these both approaches so that we can establish a good networking, even it's going to be for one container or if you're dealing with multiple containers. So that is the thing we have here. Okay, so what exactly is Linux network namespaces? Anyone here would like to tell about network namespaces? As I'm expecting that majority of the people here are working professionals.
It's a logical isolation between the different networks.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else do we have? Okay, fine. So network namespaces. So basically, how exactly your container is going to have its own private network. So that is what involved in these network namespaces. So network namespace is nothing but it's going to be acting as a whole copy of your entire network. Like it's going to have its own route tables, socket tables, firewall rules. So everything basically, it's going to be a complete copy of your network. And whenever you basically want to create network for your machine or your container, so these are the 7 steps that your computer is basically going to go and follow. So we have to create the network namespace, then we'll have to create the bridge interface, then we'll have to create the VETH pairs, then we'll have to basically attach the VETH pairs to the namespace, then we'll basically attach the VETH to the bridge. And 6 is the most important thing, where basically we'll be assigning IP addresses to all these containers that we are having. And then we'll be bridging the interfaces up, and that is going to be the end state. So this is how basically Linux network namespaces are working. So what exactly is the role and life cycle of CNI? So we just have 15 minutes, okay, for the talk. So just don't mind if I'm rushing a bit. So talking about the runtime responsibilities we have here, like basically we have runtimes like we have Docker, we have container, we have Kubernetes. So these runtimes are basically going to help us to create the container namespaces, and not just the creation of them, but also when it comes to invocation of the network plugging as well. So these are the runtime responsibilities we are having. Then talking about the plugin requirements, so we basically need to configure these plugin requirements by making use of the JSON network specification files that we are having. And you can see these all like colorful boxes here. This is basically how exactly your plugin lifecycle is working. Like we'll be having the runtime, which is going to be helping us to create the networking namespaces. Then we'll have to basically add it. Then we have the IPAM. Then we basically need to check the state, and then we'll have to basically delete it. So this is basically the flow that we are having. Okay, so I guess this is the most important slide of the talk, I can say. Like, what is going to happen when we are basically scaling the infrastructure, we are basically scaling the containers. So IP exhaustion is going to be there. So like suppose we can take example that suppose if more traffic is going to come to your product and you're basically scaling your infrastructure, so you'll be ending up with creating lot of containers as well. So for that, every pod that you'll be creating, like suppose thousands of pods that you're creating, so those all pods are going to require isolated IPs, like basically each pod is going to require its own IP address. So this is what the requirement here is. And why exactly it's an issue now. Like majority of the times it happens that you may end up like basically CPU exhaustion, or we can talk about the memory one. But the important issue or important issue here we have is that we may end up with exhausting the IP addresses. So this is the big issue that we are having. So why exactly this issue comes up? Like suppose different containers, we are having different machines that we are having. Like when it comes to assigning the IP addresses, so at first we are having only one certain range. Like suppose, for example, I can say 200, one machine A is gonna get 200, machine B is gonna get 200. And suppose machine B is gonna basically exhausting all these IP addresses. So it basically can't borrow the addresses from the machine A, which is still having some addresses. So this is the issue. And what it's gonna basically cost us, like scaling friction we are having. We have fragmented subnets, we have operational risk. So this is basically the issues that are gonna be caused because of when we are basically trying to scale the IP addresses, sorry, the containers. So next onwards, Parth is gonna carry forward.
All right. Folks at the back, if I please may have your attention. All right. So the topic is, very close to the real world issue that we usually face. So how many of us are actually coming from a networking background? Not specific to containers or Kubernetes, but overall platform networking background. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so very few. I can actually count the numbers on my fingertips. All right. So what happens is whenever I'm trying to create a pod, at the in a production environment, very well it might so happen that you may have enough RAM, enough CPU, enough disk, but the pod is still stuck in the container creating stage, right? Why? Because it doesn't have enough IP or like a free IP so that it can get assigned to a pod. And without IP, obviously, you cannot talk to the pod, you cannot reach the pod, or you cannot reach the application. So managing IP address becomes very much important, very much, it makes a difference between how well your architecture is versus how poor your architecture is, right? So that is where this topic comes in. And when we talk about this issue, right, the ability to assign an IP address to a pod, the ability to cleanly, revoke the IP address, the ability to push that or send that IP address back to the pool, and updating the IP tables, updating the routing tables with the latest pod's IP address. This everything, the process that I just mentioned, is falling under an umbrella term called as IPAM. IPAM, all right, IP address management. Right? Management, we are all aware what the English dictionary word meaning of management is. It is about like taking care of something. So what is it that we are taking care of here? It is the IP addresses, right? The overall process of IP addresses. So that is what IPAM is. The word demystifying sounds a bit scary, but it's all really very simple. We are just dealing with IP addresses, ensuring that whatever resources I'm supposed to create, it gets allocated with a proper IP address, and that allows me to reach and talk to the pod and to the application. All right. So there are a couple of caveats to this. Now, first, the very first thing that all of us needs to understand is that Kubernetes by intent, by design, deliberately chose not to deal with networking, not to deal with storage, and not to deal with user management, right? If we are kind of aware about Kubernetes, I hope you agree with this fact that Kubernetes natively through its core package doesn't offer many advanced features with respect to networking. It's very simple. I see few of you are kind of nodding in agreement. So yes, so the basic the networking that Kubernetes has to offer, it's very basic. It's not going to be enough for the production workloads and for the enterprises workloads. So what it does, it allows the third-party vendors outside of the Kubernetes cluster, commercial vendors, third-party vendors, to create solutions. These vendors are going to then take care of the advanced networking policies, network policies, routing policies, and the and whatever the Kubernetes is not able to offer. They're trying to bridge the gap, and they will also throw in the security aspect. They will also throw in the IPAM aspect, right? IP address management. So to be able to handle networking in Kubernetes, to be able to handle IP address management in Kubernetes, you always will have to rely on top of or rely on on a third-party vendor. So there are a couple of few third-party vendors, out of which have a commercial edition or commercial version of their product, and almost all of them also have kind of an open source version of their product. So one of them is actually Calico. It's an open source product. It is maintained and managed by another company called as Tigera. I used to be an ambassador for Calico for a couple of years until the program ran. So Calico is one option, and then I'm going to present a couple of other options. So Calico is going to talk about IPAM. It is going to take care of this IP address management at the pod level, at all the resources level in Kubernetes. You have to integrate Calico with your Kubernetes cluster, and that is how you're able to ensure that your networking ability or networking features are kind of advanced in terms of handling all those traffics, rerouting, and all of that. Kubernetes by design natively typically talks about HTTP, but if you want to if you want to talk about any advanced protocols, if your traffic is representing any advanced protocols, in that case you will have to really rely on some of the other third-party vendors. Calico is one of them, and of course every vendor is going to come up with its own benefits, come up with its own pros, come up with its own features, and it's not guaranteed that those features will be offered by another vendor. Another vendor might be talking about something else. So Calico in specific is offering flexible IP pools. This is common across any other vendor. It is also offering something called as IP block borrowing and scalable route distribution. Now I'm not going to explain all of this. Intention here is to just to let you know that such a thing exists, is to introduce you to these topics so that you can go home and try to expand your exposure to these topics. Second, this is important. Now, why test CNI locally, right? So this talk started about Docker, right? So let's say that I have an enterprise cluster and it's a big hulking cluster. I have many workloads, many enterprise applications. They are in the staging environment, dev environment, production environment, right? Now, it might so happen that if you have not tested the networking aspect of it, you might have the security aspect, the resource allocation aspect, and all of that. But if you have not, tested the networking aspect, you might face this IPAM related issue or IP exhaustion issue, at the enterprise level. So for that, it becomes very important, very necessary that you test it locally first, right? So you have multiple options. The one option that I have actually used since over last many years, and it is very reliable, very very easy to work with, is Kind. Have you heard about Kind clusters? Kind stands for Kubernetes in Docker, right? So Kind, K-I-N-D, Kubernetes in Docker, right? So what it does is I'm just going to spin up Docker containers, and these containers are going to be treated as fictitious host or pseudo host, and those host or those nodes will be used as the nodes for cluster. So my Kubernetes cluster is actually being created on top of. I can smell biryani actually. It's distracting me. So that Kubernetes cluster is actually hosted on top of those Docker containers, right? Where the containers are acting as host. So if you have this ability to create a container or create a cluster locally right on your laptop, why not to take advantage of it, right? So let's have a Docker desktop as an app. Let's try to integrate, let's try to download it. Let's try to install it. And then with couple of commands, with couple of packages like kubectl kind, you can have a very nice working cluster, multi-node cluster, close to production grade cluster. You start running it, and then you integrate it with Calico or any other third-party open source networking solution. On top of that, you have your dev version or staging version or testing version of your application. You like host it on top of that cluster, and you ensure that the application is running. You test it, you throw some traffic, ensure that the IPs are not getting exhausted. If your IPs are not getting exhausted in your locally tested environment, low chances that the same issue will happen at the production level, right? So that's the reason shifting left, what this term means, that you're trying to test something first on your laptop through the available open source means, and then you're trying to replicate it at the production level, so that you ensure that the issue is not occurred, or you're not facing the same issue at the production level, and the customers are not behind your back. All right. Yeah, so this is basically just what I talked about. Calico is going to provide IPAM. Calico is not the only one, but it is something that I have got enough exposure to. So obviously, I'll be much more inclined to talk about it rather than something that I've not touched. And Docker Desktop is the way to have a nice working local cluster, very nice multi-node cluster, close to production grade environment. Yeah, and then this is the CNI plugin ecosystem. That's what I was talking about. So Kubernetes or CNCF, what it did basically is it offered something called as OCI. OCI, full form? Open Container Initiative. Open Container Initiative throws 3 umbrellas at you: CNI, CSI, and CRI. Out of which CNI stands for Container Network Interface, right? So it's going to give you an interface so that you can extend your networking capability, all right? With respect to network interface, you have Calico as an option, you have Flannel as an option, you have Cilium as an option, and for advanced, really very advanced, very complex network protocols, you have SRIOV, right? Now, out of this, Canal is a very, highly popular, you provide Flannel at the base, and then you provide Calico for the pods that are running in the upper layers, right? So if I were to summarize this talk, the theory aspect of it, these are the 3 key takeaways that I really want all of us to take away with. Networking, container networking is pluggable. That's what I started my pitch with. Kubernetes by design, by intent, is not going to offer much when it comes to networking, right? So you have to go with an add-on. It is also called as plugin. It is also called as extending your capability. Now, in this case, we are focused on networking. So there is pluggable network plugin that you have to install. Next is IPAM is a strategic decision. You'll have to ensure that your architecture is focused on IPAM. It's focused on a very nice IP address manager or management, so that all the IP-related policies are not overlooked, and you do not face the issue of IP exhaustion at the enterprise level. And then Docker enables local mastery. Yes, I mean, basically Docker Desktop through kind is going to allow you to have a multi-node cluster, and through that multi-node cluster, you can just test it locally, ensure that you're not going to have a rough day in office. All right. Before that, let me just give a very quick walkthrough of the entire Kubernetes networking. So I am over there as a user, store.myapp.com. My intention is to talk to a pod, or my intention is to talk to the application, right? So I, as a user, I am aware about the website, right? This is an e-commerce website. So I'm just going to put the domain in the URL. That URL, the big DNS in the sky, is just going to resolve it to the nearest load balancer, right? This is an external load balancer that is configured by the Kubernetes platform team. So this load balancer is aware about the next hop in the path. The next hop in the path is the ingress controller, which is running as a pod, and he's running on a master node of a Kubernetes cluster. So this ingress controller gets that packet, and this ingress controller is going to just refer a file called as ingress controller manifest file. That file is aware about the name of the service and aware about the port, but I am not capable of reaching to the pod just by becoming aware about the name of the service. I need the IP address of the service. IP address is with the core DNS pod. Core DNS pod is again another pod, control plane component that runs on the master node. CoreDNS pod has the IP address of all the services. So it's going to just act as a lookup service. So I will take the name of the service through the ingress controller manifest file, go to the CoreDNS pod. CoreDNS pod is going to give me the IP address. I will get this IP address. The port address is already with me through the manifest file. I'll go to one of the worker nodes. Every single worker node is going to have an IP table. This IP table is going to be managed and maintained and updated and modified by kubeproxy. All right, it's another networking component that runs on every single worker node. It runs as a daemon set. So the kubeproxy is going to take the server IP address and it's going to return me, translate it with a pod IP address, any one of the running pod IP address. That pod IP address, I'm going to get it, right? And the service itself is going to do another lookup service for the port mapping. So service is going to give me the port number of the application. IP address of the pod is already with me through kubeproxy. So I have the IP address, I have the port number, together becomes the endpoint, right? So the entire point of this Kubernetes networking is to reliably provide this endpoint back to the original requester who wanted to access that domain, right? So once the original requester has this endpoint, that is the combination of the IP address as well as the port number, he or she will be able to reach to the application, and in that case can expect some response. Now in this entire networking flow, you see CoreDNS, you see kubeproxy, you see ingress controller, the ingress controller manifest file. These are all the networking components. Kubernetes natively offers very minimal, very basic capability. If you want to have something advanced, you have to go with a networking plugin, a CNI plugin. So with that, let me just give a quick demo before I wrap this up. All right. Is the font visible at the back? Is it visible? Oh, perfect. Okay. So let me just show you, first of all. Now I'll be a bit slow because I need 2 hands to type. Okay. So as of now, I do not have any Docker container, right? If I just executed Docker PS, it's not going to give me any container because I have not executed one. Let's also check if I have any kind clusters. No kind cluster found. Okay. Similarly, if I execute kubectl get nodes, I will not have any node. Okay. So this is the current setup that I have. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Docker, create a kind cluster, and that is going to use a Docker containers in the backend. And I have, just to save some time, I've written a script. Okay, so let's see what this is doing. So the first thing it's doing is creating a kind cluster, right? This is going to take about 10-15 seconds. All right, so this first command is going to just create a kind cluster. I've given it a custom script. I'm going to name my kind cluster as Meetup-cluster, if you can notice that, right? So this cluster will be named as Meetup-cluster, and the configuration of my cluster is going to be 4 nodes, out of which 1 will be master node, and then 3 will be worker nodes. Good enough architecture for me to understand if my production level application is going to work fine or not, right? So we are going to have a basic cluster, very, very minimal cluster. In the beginning, okay. So the cluster is ready, but the status is not ready. Why? Because we have only the hardware. We only have the architecture. I have not integrated any Calico specific packages or anything like that. So the next commands are going to take care of the Calico operator. It is going to host or install the Calico operator. Next, it is going to do something like Calico CRD, custom resource definition. Once everything is installed, everything is downloaded, it is going to create certain pods, right? So these are all the pods that are in the pending state or container creation state, right? So the left-hand side, the first column talks about the namespace. Calico is going to create its own namespace, Calico-system. Then you have certain pods, right? So you see Calico-node some random string. Calico will have its own kube controller, right? Calico will have another pod that is going to take care of the node, right? So these are all the pods that are running as of now. So now let's check the output of Docker PS. So now, how many containers do I have? 4. And I mentioned that my cluster is going to have 4 nodes, out of which 1 will be master and 3 will be worker nodes. So these nodes are being powered by Docker container, right? Obviously not recommended for production, but it's good enough for me to test it locally, right? Next, let me check if I have a kind cluster. I have a kind cluster named as meetup-clusters. Now let's check the kubectl get nodes. Now what's the status? Ready. All the nodes are in the ready state. Why? So it is because of this reason, right? So I have just tried to list the namespaces, out of which if you see, I have Cube system, which has all the control plane component. And along with that, I have a Calico system namespace and a Tiger operator namespace, right? So this is how you create a very nice little Kubernetes cluster, a 4-node multi-node cluster integrated with Calico. And now whatever pods you'll be creating, it will be having an IP address. So you go ahead and just try to install the ingress controller, just trying to have an external load balancer. Open source Metal LB load balancer is good enough. And then you can just reroute traffic to your application. That's all for the demo. That's all for the talk. Thank you so much. Any questions for us?
So this namespace is just like a VRF, is it? It's a VRF. It's a virtual routing and forwarding. That's what.
It's going to be a subset of namespace.
Can you explain how is it that?
Yeah. So see, what are you aware about the 7-layer OSI ISO model?
Yes.
I'm not going to list it, but you're aware, right? So how do I define this as a host, this laptop as a host? It needs to have a network interface card. It needs to have a host name. It needs to have a MAC address, IP address, port ranges, right? All of this. So if I can have this within a laptop, I'm going to call it as a node. When I'm creating a network namespace, I'm creating a copy of it. Not just IP address, but also I'm going to give it its own MAC address. I'm going to give its own port range, its own virtual network interface card. So every single pod is going to have its own namespace.
So it's basically VRF plus NAT.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How are you validating the IP exhaustion scenario here? Like
mandating IP.
How are you validating the IP exhaustion? Like, have you limited the number of IPs that
Yes.
Calico
So what I've done is I have created, so his question is how I'm validating the IP exhaustion. So I have done two things. I have created a big subnet of /16 that is going to give me 65,000 IP addresses with a /16 subnet. And I'm going to assign this subnet to the entire cluster. Out of those /16 subnets, that's going to give me around 65,000 IP addresses. I'm going to carve and create smaller, shorter subnets of /24 mask. /24 is going to give me about, I'm not sure, about 255. So these many IP addresses will be allocated to every single node. And I, for a fact, will be aware that at this point, every single node is capable of running or supporting 255 pods. If I need more pods, more number of IP addresses, I have to just increase the subnet mask. So from 24, I have to just go for 23, 22, 20, 19, 18. That's going to give me more and more IP addresses. So I have created two subnets, one at the cluster level, one at the every node level.
So here your node is basically a container.
Sorry?
In this case, every K8s node is just a container, right?
Yes, yes. Every node is a container, yes.
And you have 3 nodes here. And within those containers, again, you're going to simulate running other containers.
Exactly. Yes, that's correct.
And through running it with 255 per node, you're trying to break.
Yes, that's correct. That's configurable. I have given it to, like, it's a local cluster. I don't want to give much longer subnet. So I've just like limited it to /24. That's it. Last question, we'll take it after in the networking section.
You mentioned about CNI. Okay. So in a managed cloud environments like AWS, we have a VPC CNI. Okay. So how it used to manage this IP exhaustion over there? Like we have you said that we have a custom solution for that Calico and all. So on that VPC CNI, how it used to manage this IP exhaustion and all?
Very nice question. You're trying to think beyond the container ecosystem. Yeah. So it's the logic is going to be the same. What you're going to do is whenever you're creating a VPC, you're going to give it the net mask, the subnet mask. It can be /24, /16, /20. So that is going to be the total number of maximum number of IPs across the VPC, right? Then you will be creating instances, EC2 instances. Again, those EC2 instances need to have their own subnet. Right, and then you can have the concept of the routing table as well, or the subnet itself. You're going to create subnet. Some of them is going to be private, some of them is going to be public. So you first create a big umbrella subnet at the VPC level, and then smaller subnets at the subnet level, and then you're going to assign the EC2s at those into those subnets. And then you just go for monitoring services. They are going to determine if any EC2 instance is failing or application is failing. If the log mentions anything about IP address, then just notify it to the user, and the user is going to investigate it. So it's going to follow the same principle. All right, so that should be it. Thank you so much. If you can take it in the networking section. All right. Abhijit, I have Abhijit, just 2 minutes. So last couple of items before the food. Abhijit is our TA. He's a senior lead, senior TA, talent acquisition, and is going to talk about Cloudera, life at Cloudera and open roles at Cloudera. Then we have a quick quiz section hosted by Yong. Then we'll be open for networking.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you all had an insightful session today. I'm Abhijit, part of the global talent acquisition team at Cloudera, and I work as a senior talent partner for the APAC region. So right now, we are hiring big in numbers across our R&D units, right? And just wanted to talk about it right now. So let's talk about what makes Cloudera a great place to work, right? So basically, we at Cloudera have a very flexible workplace, right? And as you can see right now, we have got global unplugged days. So every 3 weeks, every Clouderans gets an extended, unplug break for them to rejuvenate, recharge, and come back to work. We have a comprehensive work culture, which is all about, flexible work style, hybrid, including remote options based on your roles, and Zoom-free days, comprehensive onboarding program from day one, which makes you, go for the success from day one itself. And we have got employee assistance programs, which includes your webinars, counseling sessions, and referrals. Plus, we also focus on career progression, right, for each and every employee, which truly matters to us, which is all about, career pathing, coaching, internal mobility based on your roles and responsibilities. Then we have self-learning courses, such as Udemy platform, which Cloudera employees have an access to, education reimbursement program, wherein every Clouderan has an eligibility for about up to 2 lakhs every year to claim for an educational reimbursement. Plus, social activities. We are heavily involved with social activities, which includes your, sports, festivals, and some of the fun outings, which is where, you can also connect beyond your work, right? And this is the Cloudera career page, QR code and LinkedIn page. So you can look through some of the opportunities that we have across the globe and apply if you're interested. Plus, I'm around during the networking hours. If anyone of you wants to reach out to me, please feel free to come and talk. Last but not the least, we are one of the great mid-sized workplaces, great places to work in India, and certified in 2026. So yes, a very flexible workplace. And thanks for your time, everyone. I'll be around. Please feel free to catch up. Thanks.
All right. So last thing for the day, we have Yong again. So it looks like the meetup got sandwiched between his first intro and then the last one. So he's looking kind of smart today in the jacket as well. So just a fun fact. Are you aware about the term CubeSmart? Anybody over here? So whoever achieves certain number of CNCF related certifications, right? He is given, or they are given, a title called as CubeSmart, right? And you have to go for a good number of certifications, and all of them are most of them are hands-on. He is world's first CubeSmart. So huge round of applause.
Thanks, Bob.
Short quiz section. You're going to get some swags. So please, if you're sleepy, don't be. And yeah, enjoy.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Are we hungry? No food. Okay, if you can pass the quiz. Yeah, I need you guys to join us to learn, not to come here for food, okay? All right, let's get started. First of all, let me share this, really quick. If you haven't followed us, yeah, please follow us. So how to join us? I want to really quickly to show you. Do you guys know how to generate the QR code? Can you guys see this? If you scan the QR code, I'll show you where you can find all the photos, okay? And once you scan the QR code, it will come to this page. If you scroll down a little bit, you find all the learning certification, event discount code, etc., and even free certification vouchers giveaway. Okay, you just click the image. You like a golden jacket or blue jacket? Blue. Oh, serious? Oh, the golden is looking shiny. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you can collect the both. All right. So you can collect the both. Okay. So now, if you scroll down a little bit, you can find all the upcoming events, and you can join us as a volunteer. You can join us as a speaker. All the links in the same place. And today's photo, I took a lot of photos, and some other organizers also took a lot of photos. We invite you guys to contribute as well. So if you click go to latest album, you can already find a lot of photos here. You can download to post, to tag us. You can upload your photos as well. And for anyone want to connect me on LinkedIn, just scroll down to the bottom. You can find two of my LinkedIn here in the bottom. Anyone know why I need two of the LinkedIn? LinkedIn have the maximum 30,000 connection, okay? So I can't connect on my original LinkedIn, so I create another one. CubeSmart He, also me, okay? My name is Yongkang He. Now, are we ready for the test? Yes? Okay, let's do it. So we are using Slido. So present. Now you should be see a QR code. You scan the QR code and then you can join. So only 10 questions should be relatively easy based on the talks in the past.
So we'll display this QR code for about 10-15 seconds. I'll give you a quick, I'm not getting the word, I'm blank. A call. And if anyone is still remaining to, to just scan it, just let me know. Your nearest screen can be behind you. Nobody got the reference.
And before we wrap up, if you guys don't mind, come over to the front. We do a group photo, okay? That's my favorite part. I do LinkedIn posts. Yeah, if I try to tag everyone, but it's really hard for me to remember everyone's name. If you see the post, yeah, you tag me, you like, and then I can, tag you, okay? Or you tag yourself. So
All right.
are we ready?
All of us done with the scanning? Anybody left? Should we move ahead? Should we move ahead? Perfect.
Okay, now let's get started. So how many people here already? Let's start. Are we still waiting? Okay, how many people here already? Come on, only 55? That's not the case, right? Yeah, we give another few more seconds. By the way, where are the swags? I bring my own swags here, okay? Seriously, yeah. I got one bag of the swags here. It doesn't include my golden jacket, okay? Doesn't include my Kubernetes cap either. All right, not the blue jacket either. So I do have one bag of the swag. Some of these actually pretty cool, yeah. All right, and we also have Kunal also bring some more swags here, right?
That is just one swag.
Okay, okay. So the rule is you answer the question correctly and fast enough will be on the top. So based on the ranking, the first few, you got more choice. Toward the end, you don't have anything. So we got 100.
So it's speed and accuracy.
Correct, correct.
Speed and accuracy.
So ready? Let's get started. So we got 187. Anyone last chance to join us? Okay, let's do it. Where is the next question? Oh, we got two more just joined. Okay. Let me make it a full screen. And where is my next? Ah, it was blocked here. All right, the first question. What is the primary goal of Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform? Should be relatively easy, only 4 choice. Even you do a random guess, you also get 25% get correct. So I'm not going to read all the questions. Yeah, it's almost there. So the correct answer is, should be the second. Yeah, 94% choose the second. So yes, second one. You guys are awesome. 94% get it correct. Second question. Which combination best enables an enterprise agent to perform real-world actions? So we got only like 10 seconds to go. If you don't know the answer, just randomly tick one, okay? So let's see. %91% choose the first one, Gemini plus tools plus enterprise data APIs. That is a correct answer. So next question. So let's see who is leading for now. Let me come back. Did I click next? Did you skip the last one? Okay, that's the one. What does ksug.ai stand for? I pronounce it as a ksuga.ai, okay? This one actually it's a little bit tricky, okay? If you join us earlier, you should be able to get it correct. But most of the time, you get it wrong. Ah, okay. Let's see how many people get it correct. I told you this one is a very tricky one. It is definitely not a Kubernetes in the AI user group. So the reason is I can't use the name Kubernetes, okay? Because our communities grow so strong, okay? The CNCF actually particularly reached out to me, say, hey, Yong, you can't use our name, okay? That's why we got another 2 names. So CubeSmart, I can't use their name either. So I renamed it to CubeSmart and the AI user group. And the CubeStrong also part of our community. So I initially created the original CubeStrong LinkedIn page. Okay, we're growing so fast. For the same reason, CNC will say, you can't use our name, so we renamed it to CubeStrong. But remember, we are the largest cloud native and AI community on LinkedIn. CubeStrong, not a CubeStrong, okay? CubeStrong is tiny. Yeah, they got a tiny number of followers, okay? Okay, let's continue. So the correct answer is CubeSmart. We want to be smart, okay? Whatever you are doing, Kubernetes or DevOps, AI, learning, multi-cloud, we want to be smart. So next question. What is a core architectural difference between Docker's CNM and the CNI? I think is Rajani just mentioned earlier. So we're gonna for choice, only 5 seconds. So let's see the correct answer. Yes, 72% get it correct. CNM lives inside the Docker daemon. CNI is a separate binary invoked by the runtime. So how many questions we left? We are almost halfway. How does Kimchi's multi-model orchestration differ from a single model agents like a Cloud Code? Let's see who get it correct. So we're going to 81 choose B. Let's see. Yes, B is the correct answer. It assigns distinct model to role: orchestrator, planner, builder, reviewer, explorer, with per role routing based on task type. So we are halfway. Number 6. What does Kimchi's ferment command do? /ferment command. Okay, let's see which one is the correct answer. C is the correct answer. Persist structured multi-session projects that can be paused and resumed later. So 3 more questions, actually 4 more questions to go. What does Kimchi look for your API key first? Where to look for the API keys? Let's see how many people get this one correct. We got, okay, interesting. So the correct answer is C, in the Kimchi underscore API underscore key environment variable. So next question, why do default Kubernetes setup using host local frequently hit IP exhaustions? So the answer is yes. Amazing. 91% get correct. Each node gets a fixed block /24 of IPs that cannot be shared, wasting up to like 88% of addresses. So last 2 questions. So what is the recommended way to reliably test Calico locally using Docker? %82 choose A. Let's see. Yes, A is the correct answer. Use the kind Kubernetes in Docker and explicitly disable its default CNI during creation. So I think that's last question. Let's see who will be the winner. So this one should be relatively easy. How many followers, members, part of Kasuga.ai community globally? I want to see 100% correct. All right, let's see. Yeah, you guys underestimate our community. So we are the most powerful community in the world. Yeah, we got 250,000 plus members, followers globally from like over 120 plus countries. So the correct answer is the last one, 250. Let's see who are the winners. Okay, so we do have quite a little bit more swags. Can I invite the first 5 winners here? So the base, we distribute now. We take photos with the winner. Is that all right?
Hey, folks, if you can come ahead, just these 5 folks.
So the first one, who is the first one? Abhishek. Amazing, congratulations. Yeah, you got more options to choose. Yeah, where is the? Okay, all right. Let's keep it here. Come have a look. Yeah, all of the stuff here, and the back. So come, yeah, pick up whatever you like.
Folks who are listed over here, can come, please come ahead.
It's just a cup.
This is, I think, since
That one actually from Cloudera. Most of these are my own collections. Yeah.
What is this one?
Well, it's a bag.
You can take it, right? No problem.
Oh, the Cloudera, yeah. He pick up the most, quality, most quality one, yeah. So who can help us take photos? Yeah, you are okay? Take a photo.
Sure.
So next here, so we can find that you are the number one. Yeah, you rank the number one. Can you take photos for us? Yeah.
What's the answer to the last one?
The last one, 250,000 plus members. Yeah, we do have a 250. Yeah. Over this side. Yeah. All right. Oh, thank you so much. Congratulations. Do you want to do a LinkedIn post tag us?
Sure.
Yeah, we need you guys, everyone's help to help us grow to 300,000 followers members. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So who is the second winner? Is that Sai? Congratulations. Yeah, let's do a photo again. Yeah. All right. Congratulations. Yeah. LinkedIn post. LinkedIn is my friend. Okay. Who is the third winner? Vishwa. Have you chosen anything yet? Oh, by the way, we also have 50% off exam voucher to support either AWS, Google, Microsoft, or Kubernetes. Again, as I mentioned, it's our friends donate to us, so we can help more people. That's where we need everyone to supporting us to reach more people. You choose something? Yeah. Great, yeah. Who can help us taking photo? Let me use my phone, okay. So may I invite you to help us? All right. Thanks. Okay. Thank you so much. Who is the next one? Is it Gaurav? Congratulations. Yeah. All right. Thank you. So next one, recursive ramen. Congratulations. Yeah. Thank you. So you guys know where to get to the photos, right? So we haven't finished yet. We got more swags here. So let me bring the next few winners, okay? So if I click space here, where? Oh, come on. Should be this one. Huh? Weird. It doesn't allow me to show. Okay, I want you to do it again. Yeah, it doesn't allow me to click.
Click on next.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh,
Yeah, let's go to the end of it.
where it's does that allow click? No.
I think it shows only 5.
No, it can show all of these. So let me see. Just yeah. I think we need to go here and go to the go to the end. Yeah, we should be able to see everyone. Okay.
More next.
How it doesn't allow to me leave.
Just a minute. Let me just move this around.
Yeah, it's weird. Let me figure out. I go back and let's see. Yeah, normally we can see all the next few winners. So yes. So can I invite the next 5? Yeah, you pick up whatever you like left. Actually,
The next
it can
5.
be
The next 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next 5. Yes, please come. Please come.
Yeah, oh, come here. 6 to 10, please. Let's see if we have anything left. And yeah, let's do a photo together, okay? And for the rest, as I mentioned, if you guys reacted to our LinkedIn post, your name will be on our leaderboard. After lunch, you ping me. Okay, you found me?
Call for next 5 as well. Like there are total more than 10 swans.
Okay, well, looks like we've got more stuff here. Please come over here. Where? Where is it? Why it's gone? I think it should be here.
Yeah, this is the list.
Okay.
The last 5, 10 to 15. I mean 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The last 5.
Yeah, please come over here. And if you guys don't mind, yeah, let's do a photo. And also, I still have something in my pocket, okay? So after lunch, if you help us, if you reacted our LinkedIn post, I should be able to find your name, or you just show me, okay? So if you click heroes, you can find a view leaderboard. We should be able to find your name here. There is one weekend, I joined one of the hackathon. I built something like this. Whoever reacted, commented, or reposted our LinkedIn post, your name will be here. Okay, we can even filter by today or 7 days, etc. So that's how, you know, a lot of our friends help us. We also helping them. We supporting them, give swag, give exam vouchers to support them as well. If your name listed here, run out of swag is from here, no problem. I got something in my pocket. Okay. Hopefully I can support you guys as well. Okay. Anyone want 50% off exam voucher, just ping me. Okay. Again, we need, it's a community helping community platform. We need you guys are supporting us. That's where we can support more people. Okay. So is that all good? Let's do a photo. Okay. Yeah. Come over here. Yeah. Thank you guys. Yeah. Let's do all together. Yeah. I know everyone is hungry. Yeah. Let's do all together. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming. All right. Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed the learning. Let's give a round of applause to all the speakers. And also all of our organizers, volunteers. Without them help, we can't make it happen. We are looking forward to see you guys again next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, folks, thank you so much for the patience. So if just a last plugin, if anyone wants to collaborate with Future of Data, that's the program that we run at Cloudera. You have got the second QR code. Anybody who's looking to explore the running opportunities that we have, that's the first QR code. And then we have the last QR code, to get in touch with over LinkedIn. And yeah, if you're looking forward to, speak in such of the conference, want to collaborate with any of the speakers, or just want to speak solo, just reach out and we'll be, sure be able to, help you out and give you the nice platform. So along with me, Samriddhi also does this. So let me just try to find her QR code. Yes. So Samriddhi Bhatnagar and I, Parth Goswami, are the one who run this program here at Cloudera. We try to aim, once a month. That's the frequency that we try to aim. Due to any logistical reasons, if you're not able to be as consistent as we would, then we try to host at least 2 to 3 meetups, in a given quarter. So the next meetup, we are planning something in the last week of September. Please watch out for that. And if you are signed up on meetup.com, please, a humble request, just go and write some nice comments, just shower some love. That helps us to deliver such nice meetups. And I really hope that your morning was worth. And yeah, we have food. Before that, we'll have a group photo. So the way we do is, the audience sitting in the back, the last 30%, please get up from your chairs. Please get up and just push your chairs in the back. Just push it in the back. Just kindly push it in the back. Not all. Wait. Only the last 30%. Folks, along with me, I have Prem Goswami, who runs a very nice, very vibrant community called Geeky Ants, and he is also the founder of AI Exchange. You will have all the related QR codes on the standee. If you are looking for a similar, community such as this Future of Data, this is also a very nice community to get, get collaborated with, and you will find on socials. He will be hanging around in the networking section. So please try to have a word with him, and he should be able to help you around. All right. The folks in the middle, if you can just get up and push your chairs in the back. We just need some space. Wait.